Paterson and Michael Remus.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to you, and welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Andrew Paterson with you. Remo away today. Andrew Z getting us on and off the air, and Connor Hrabchak joining me as well in just a couple of minutes. Big show today, folks. Big weekend here in the Peg. As you can see, I'm rocking the red of Canada's national team because it is Des Scott week, and tomorrow we will celebrate Desiree's incredible career here in her hometown of Winnipeg. 1 p.m., Canada versus Haiti. If you don't have tickets yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Link in the description of this video and of the podcast. 1 p.m. kickoff. I would suggest that even if you aren't a big fan of soccer, I mean, just if you're a Winnipeg sports fan, this is a time to come out and give respects to one of the greatest ambassadors our city has ever produced. And I can't wait to welcome Des to the program a little bit later on today here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. We will certainly be talking hockey today. The Stanley Cup Final is set. Oilers, Panthers, round 2. And we'll get to that next week. Today, it's going to be what the hell happened to the Dallas Stars and what happened last night with Pete DeBoer, Jake Ottinger. One of the most stunning goalie pulls, not necessarily with the timing, but the way it was done. And then the post-game comments. My God, Connor and I are going to get into that right away. We'll also talk Jets, a little more NHL. Brandon Rewucki jumps on the program later on. Hacksaw will pop in as well. And we'll also check in on the Manitoba Match Play Championships for a few minutes with our pal Dr. Terry before we fire up the marbles around 3 p.m. here on the show. So great to have you all with us, everybody. Just before we welcome in Connor, big shout out to all the sponsors that make WST happen each and every day. Of course, our friends at Coolbet Canada, Princess Auto, Prairie Toyota Dealers, and Ben Moss, Rollies Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center, Canadian Club, Manitoba Battery, Aikens Lake, F Apparel, Royal Sports, Little Brown Jug, Boston Pizza, the Gold Eyes, Assiniboia Downs, Breezy Bend, where I was at last night, and dropped a 70-foot putt, maybe my longest in my entire life. And we'll get to a Why Not question of the day for non-Autocorp, Waverly McGilvery, and of course from fan feedback for fans first.ca. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Vibes are high right now as we get into Friday. And welcome to Connor Hrabchak, who joins us now. And speaking of this, I got the Canada hoodie. Look at this jersey that the young man is wearing. Great. But listen, we understood the assignment for today. We're ready for the game tomorrow.
We're ready for tomorrow, and I hope everyone else is. It's going to be great. It's going to be a beautiful day. Princess Auto Stadium, 1 p.m., Desiree Scott celebration match. It's going to be awesome, and fired up to be on the show today. We got a lot to talk about outside of that in the NHL playoffs, round 2 of Oilers-Panthers, and the puzzling Pete DeBoer decision last night that kind of took over Twitter and the reaction from that game. So lots to get to today, and a Bomber game tonight, final preseason game. So lots to talk about today.
You look like you could put a pair of boots on, as they call them.
I'm ready to play.
Boots, and be in the midfield. Go in, take out one of the Davies. You're out. Hrabchak, you're in.
I'm in.
If you're listening on the podcast, beautiful Canada national team jersey on Connor right now. Just looking at the forecast, 30 today, 30 tomorrow, and smoke, which probably isn't great for a soccer game, like for the athletes. Sunday, 33 and sunny. And of course, that actually is a disaster when it comes to what we're dealing with right now. You know, I know we all love the beautiful weather and the sunny weekends, but again, just giving our thoughts to everyone affected by these wildfires and, you know, full state of emergency in the province of Manitoba right now. Connor saw the state of emergency was extended to Saskatchewan yesterday. And while many of us in the city, you know, have seen a little bit of haze or a little bit of smoke, I mean, it is a real serious situation for so many in our province. So, you know, just before we get to living the rest of the next couple hours in the toy department, as it were, some pretty serious conditions around. And as much as I love the great weather, probably a massive dumping of rain all around the province would be very welcome right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Like you said, here in the city of Winnipeg, we might see a little bit of smoke, a little bit of haze, but scrolling social media and seeing the videos, the photos coming from, the Flin Flon area, it's just heartbreaking. So echo your thoughts there. Our thoughts to everyone in northern Manitoba there dealing with the wildfires, and yeah, hoping for rain as soon as possible to kind of help out that situation. It's terrible.
Hey, just on, you mentioned Flin Flon. And, thinking about everybody there in all the areas that are being evacuated and moved out. I mean, it's a horrible situation. But if you missed yesterday's show, we had a Flin Flon legend himself, the Riverton Rifle, Reggie Leach, on. And it was a great segment to promote a equipment drive tomorrow for sporting equipment, reused hockey equipment for Indigenous communities and youth north. And Reggie told a story of how he was supported by the people of his hometown in Riverton. I mean, this guy is the all-time NHL record for playoff goals, 19 in 16 games. Scored 61 in a season in the NHL. He didn't get his first pair of skates till he was 14 years old. And it was, his family didn't have the money for it. He was gifted them through, a similar donation. And they're paying it back. So if you do have a bunch of old equipment, the only thing they don't need is undergarments, jerseys, socks. I think one of the things, other than that, everything. Seven Oaks Arena tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 2:30. A great cause that makes a big difference. And I would suggest if you missed yesterday's show, head on over to YouTube, check out the piece with Reggie. It was a great conversation. And listen, it's a great cause to get it. But let's get to it, Connor. The Dallas Stars bit the dust last night in spectacular fashion, giving up the first two goals, not getting a shot for the final 16 and a half minutes of the hockey game. And as bad as the flameout was by Dallas, credit to Edmonton. They are rolling right now. They look ready to go. But let's face it, this will always be looked at as the Jake Oettinger hook game. Goalies often get pulled. Connor Hrabchak got pulled a number of times in games in the playoffs. But in an elimination game, 7 minutes into the first period, 2 shots, 2 goals, a timeout, Oettinger skates all the way back to the net and then gets the yank from DeBoer. One of the more bizarre, just the actual, not that he was pulled, but how he was pulled. And then we'll get into in a minute what DeBoer had to say afterwards. There is a lot of meetings, a lot of emails, a lot of things that are going to happen off season. Like the Dallas Stars off season got a hell of a lot more interesting after what happened last night.
Yeah, the pull itself, you make a great point. That was puzzling. They call a timeout. Nobody tells Jake Oettinger that he's being pulled until he starts skating back to the net and he gets yanked. And that to me was I don't know if you can go to the it's a team pull card in an elimination game on home ice. We saw it here. We saw the exact same scenario in Game 7 against the St. Louis Blues, where Connor Hrabchak let in 2 goals on the first 3 shots, I believe it was, in that game. The second goal, by the way, that Hrabchak let in Game 7, way worse than either of the 2 Oettinger let in last night. Corey Perry's wide open in the slot, and then the second goal is a clear-cut breakaway. Sure, it's 2 goals and 2 shots, but it's 2 wide open players in the slot. And then you go to, we're trying to wake the team up. It's I feel like you owe it to your starter to play better in front of him. And you already called the timeout. I tweeted it out at the time. I just don't think you can go to the, it's to spark the team. You almost owe it to your workhorse starting goaltender to kind of go down with the ship in a do or die Game 7. I get what DeBoer was trying to do. Was spark the team. I disagreed with the decision. Casey DeSmith lets in a soft goal immediately after. They go down 3-0. And then I thought maybe Oettinger comes back out for the second because it was a bit of a shock. Okay, let's get going, and then we'll get our starter back in. But after the game, we saw that Pete DeBoer was not happy with Jake Oettinger, not just this series, but last year against the Edmonton Oilers as well. He said that it's going back quite a bit. So I was puzzled with the decision. I feel like you got to ride with your starter, especially if the 2 goals were soft. Maybe it's a different question, but they're wide open players in the slot. Like, I don't pin those on Jake Ottinger. And the funniest part of this all, Huss, was Ray Ferraro. We didn't have it here in Canada, but people were tweeting out Ray Ferraro sitting right next to Jake Ottinger, breaking down the fact that he just got pulled. He's like, your franchise goaltender sitting on the bench. Jake Ottinger's right next to him. He can hear it all. So that was pretty funny. It was
that was awkward. That was probably very awkward, and probably 2 of the worst hours of Jake Ottinger's life. And Andrew, if you want to queue up that DeBoer clip afterwards, we'll play for everyone and then discuss it. I'm just looking at the chat here. The chat's having quite a bit of fun with what happened with Pete last night. Milner, Pete and his ego inserted themselves into the game. Kevin Soldier, definitely coach fired or Otter leaves. Ottinger just signed an 8-year extension that kicks in on July 1st for $66 million. Like, this wasn't just a guy that has another year on his deal. I mean, this is the franchise goaltender for the team. Jay Miller, DeBoer has to be adios. Derek Schmidt, Otter's extension hasn't even kicked in yet. Vince Intoba, Isha Boy Bruce, what does Coach Rennie think? And another Rennie joke. Not great bench management by DeBoer. Coach Rennie could give him some tips. I did see a little bit of it. I mean, we joke about this because DeBoer completely snapped on Rennie during the Jet Stars series. But Sean has covered DeBoer in these series before. And it was funny when we were in Dallas, we went to the baseball game and we were just talking about that. And he said, well, he's really happy when he wins, but sometimes, he'll look for a pound of flesh. And that was his time to be caught in the crosshairs. I would have loved, I'm not sure whether Sean got a question in last night, but I'll have to go back to the tape and see whether the rivalry was renewed. This is, though, from last night's post game after the Stars were eliminated in 5 by the Edmonton Oilers, yanking Jake Ottinger after 2 early goals. Here's how Peter DeBoer described his decision and why he did it.
And I didn't blame it all on Jake, but the reality is if you go back to last year's playoffs, he's lost 6 to 7 games to Edmonton, and we gave up 2 shots on 2 goals in an elimination game. So, it was partly to spark our team and wake them up, and partly, knowing that, status quo had not been working, and that's a pretty big sample size.
Just basically throwing it out there. He's lost 6 of 7. First 2 go in. You know what? Wasn't getting the job done. He's out. Now, listen, it's totally his prerogative to do that, Connor. And I think a lot of people will say, you know what? Considering the way the series have been going, I can see why he did it. But the way that he did it, and then that soundbite afterwards, you want to talk about a gas can onto a fire? That's what happened with the Dallas Stars. I think you're muted.
Yes, there we go. The Marc-Andre Fleury picture with the dagger in his back?
Yeah.
I saw people editing that with Jake Ottinger on it. I mean, kind of a puzzling quote there to throw your franchise goaltender under the bus, knowing that he's signed for the next 8 years, Huss. Like, Pete DeBoer has also been the coach for these 6 of 7 games that Jake Ottinger's lost. And the rookie that he put into the lineup, Maverick Bourque, took a high sticking a minute in, and Edmonton went up 1-0 on a wide open, shot in the slot by Corey Perry. So, like, Pete DeBoer is not dodging the criticism here. Absolutely not. And to throw Jake Ottinger under the bus, who, like I said, is signed for the next 8 years, was shocking to me. I thought he was going to come up there and say, well, it was a team pull. Jake understood it, and that was that. But no, he just fully said it's a pretty big sample size. And yeah, you know what? You wanna do this? Sure. You want to do it in an elimination game on home ice? I don't think that's the time. I think there was maybe earlier times in this series where you pull Jay Gottinger to spark the team and not put in a goalie who hasn't played in a month ice cold with your season on the line. Like, I don't know. It was shocking to me. It was even more shocking how he got pulled. The fact that DeBoer threw him under the bus after the game. And Huss, let me put this to you. Pete DeBoer has lost 6 of the last 7 conference finals between Vegas, San Jose, I believe it was way back when, and now Dallas losing 3 straight. Is Pete DeBoer coaching the Dallas Stars opening night next season?
If that hadn't happened last night, I'd say of course.
But
at this point, I think that changed everything.
Yeah.
And maybe this was Pete knowing, I mean, listen, this is a guy with the shelf life. I mean, for all of his success, he's been to the Cup Final with 3 teams. He doesn't seem to have a lot of staying power for a guy that's won as much as he has. He's got arguably the most incredible coaching stat in pro sports, 9-0 in Game 7s. But in these series, they haven't been able to get to Game 7, and they have been done. And I mean, I'm looking forward to asking Gavin about this when he joins us in a few minutes, because I mean, in some ways, like, listen, the guy's experienced, been there, done that. I think maybe he just felt that this was the end of the road for him with this group, with what he was getting and what he wasn't getting out of them, and said, hey, listen, if this is the way that it's going, I'm going to go down doing everything I can in the most desperate of situations to turn things around. And if it doesn't happen, I'll own it and probably be fired. I mean, that could be what he's thinking between his ears. But I have no idea how they move forward like this. And, you know, here's something. Why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray? I was thinking about this earlier, Connor. When you consider the way the other teams went out, are the Jets lowest on the playoff exit misery list of everyone that is out of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Now, maybe I'll remove Montreal. I think they were just sort of happy to be there. I mean, the Devils knew that they probably weren't going to win after they lost Jack Hughes, and they were up against it. But like Tampa losing to their in-state arch rivals, the Florida Panthers in 5, they're not happy about it. I guess the Ottawa Senators had an opportunity to do more. Ottawa, obviously, the way the Leafs went out with those miserable home games, Game 5 and Game 7, embarrassing. They're blowing it up. The Hurricanes, they got their one game in the conference finals. They got steamrolled. I don't think people are really feeling very good over there. And then you look at the West. I mean, LA up 2-0 and up late in the third period in Edmonton. That was a devastating loss, the way they folded, the way they did. The Avalanche had a 2-0 lead in the third period against Dallas in Game 7. Blew that. Terrible way to go out. Bad taste in everybody's mouths. You have the Minnesota Wild. It's been forever since they won a playoff round. They didn't achieve that, and they were in a great spot. Up in Game 5, weren't able to hang on, lost. Same old for Minnesota. And then you look at the Jets. We can't forget about St. Louis, the way they lost. Maybe the most spectacular one. Never mind getting over it in the summer. It might take years to get over the way they lost that series. And then the Jets, you think about everything they were dealing with going into Game 6, a very tight series against Dallas, losing in double overtime, but leaving it all out there. I mean, I think if you polled fans from every one of these teams outside of the sort of happy to be there teams, I think sort of the way the Jets went out, if you're not going to win, better than almost every other one. Again, everyone's even. None of these teams were talking about winning the cup, but there is something to be said about the way we saw how ugly a team can go out the last couple seasons. It really does seem night and day. And then with what happened last night with the Dallas Stars, great you beat Colorado, great you beat Winnipeg. That one is going to leave a mark for a long time, and deep wounds and scar tissue in the organization and of very important players on the team.
Yeah, I agree with you, Huss. I think if you remove the teams that were just happy to be there, the Jets would definitely be high on that list of like happy that they got, well, not happy that they got eliminated, but the mood would be the highest after an elimination in Winnipeg for sure. Just the way that the team rallied around Mark Scheifele in Game 6 as well. And then I think, a couple days later when we learned that Josh Morrissey wouldn't be back in the rest of the playoffs anyways, I think that also changed things. Like, Josh Morrissey even said it. If we won that Game 6 and brought it back to Game 7, our mindset was there was no way we were losing that game on home ice, Game 7, with the momentum of having won 2 straight in the series. And they left it all out there. I mean, it was in overtime. They lost on a power play goal. I that's an interesting way to put it, because you look around. I mean, like, Toronto just didn't show up in Game 7 and all these things. So, the Jets showed up in their elimination game, and the mood is definitely highest here outside of the happy to be there teams in the playoffs. I agree.
Yeah, I knew this take would get a lot going on in the chat right now. Jet Oil Tom makes a great point. Winning the President's Trophy came with high expectations, though. Absolutely. I mean, every team has high expectations. Yeah. I mean, when you're in the final 8, everyone feels like they've got a chance to win. And yeah, I mean, they fell short of their expectations. Please don't mistake this for me saying, oh, unbelievable season. They did everything they wanted to do. Obviously not. But I think the way that they played, they came together, dealt with a ton of really adversity. I mean, I've talked to enough fans. I hear from all of you every day. I mean, there's a far higher level of pride and satisfaction with what this team showed and was able to do, in stark contrast to the way the last couple seasons ended. So yeah, like, was it Stonewall Dave? I think no one is thrilled to lose. The Jets played with heart until the last second, and a bunch of other teams didn't. Now, Kevin K says, we were the best team in the league, barely beat an 8 seed, and then lost in 6 to this Dallas team. I'm not sure what there's good to feel good about. We're acting like a happy to be there team. I mean, I'll disagree with that. Listen, that matchup against that 8 seed you were talking about, I mean, let's be real and think about what St. Louis was when the playoffs started. I mean, that was if they weren't the best, they were like number 2 in the league, basically in the second half of the season. I mean, it's total revisionist history to just say that, oh, this was just some crappy 8 seed. They definitely deserve to be there. And the way that series went and what the Jets needed to get through to win that, it was a huge victory for the organization and for the team. And St. Louis deserves a lot of credit for being as difficult and out. And then the way that it happened, with arguably the most famous goal in the history of the organization, I think will go a long way. Now, the Dallas series, for sure, a few things could have happened, but it wasn't like they got mangled like Dallas just did by Edmonton. And I do wonder, Connor, and we'll never know this, but it's always a fun bar top conversation. Could the Jets have been a much more formidable opponent for the Edmonton Oilers? I mean, I'll tell you that if you have A+ level Connor Hrabchak, absolutely. If Connor Hrabchak struggles like Jake Ottinger did, you got no chance. But I tell you what, we'll spend a lot of time talking about Edmonton over the next few days. But I'll tell you what, that's a team that is looking ready to go and ready for their second crack at the Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah, without Josh Morrissey, I feel like it would have been very tough to make the argument that the Jets would be a better opponent. I mean, the Stars didn't look great at all, so that is totally fair. I know a lot of people, rolling their eyes at a Stanley Cup Finals rematch over, from last season to this season.
I'm not.
The reason I know I'm not. The reason I'm excited for it is because I think both of these teams are even better than they were last year. Like, Florida's top 9 is so loaded. Their third line is incredible. Edmonton is playing so well right now. Even with the loss of Zach Hyman, they get Matthias Ekholm back, and their blue line is probably the best ever in the McDavid era. And Stuart Skinner looks like a goalie that could win you a Stanley Cup right now. At least that's how he played in the Western Conference Finals. So while, last year's Stanley Cup as well, with Florida going up 3-0 and then Edmonton storming back and creating that Game 7, had so much drama that I know we'll probably not get a 3-0 and then 3-0 this season as well. But these two teams are playing at the peak of their powers. Connor McDavid is on a mission to win that first Stanley Cup. And this Florida team looks like no one can stop them right now. So I'm very excited for this Stanley Cup Finals. Even though it's a rematch, I'm okay with it because I think both of these teams are even better than they were last year.
It's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. So many great storylines. McDavid seems like he's on a mission. But the
We just have to
Florida
wait a
Panthers,
week for game one.
Well, it's starting on Wednesday, which actually is great. I mean, dude,
Still.
if it would have been Saturday if they didn't win last night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know everyone complains about that, but there is major logistics when it comes to putting on the Stanley Cup Final. It's not just like, okay, you got a home game next week. Like, you're talking about international media traveling from all over the world to cover this thing too. So there are some things that go into it that, make us wait, but hopefully the series will be worth it. I'll just say that. And I'm quite happy it's starting on Wednesday and we don't have to go through an entire week of nothing happening next week on the program to get to it. Listen, we're hoping Gavin Spittle's going to come in and join us in a couple minutes. We'll get ready for that. Do want to thank our friends at Rolly's Transfer for their support at WST. Of course, Rolly's Transfer, family owned and operated in the city for over 60 years and the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. You can head on over to their website at rollies.com, click on request an estimate and put in the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies. And you'll be able to let them know when and where you're planning on moving and everything that needs to be moved. And our pals at Rollies will turn around quickly with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment that Rollies is famous for. For all your moving needs, maybe even done in the Winnipeg Sports Talk truck. Keep your eyes out for that on the road. Rollies Transfer. Find out more. Request an estimate today over at rollies.com. All smiles over at St. Vital Dental Center, your full-service dental clinic for all of your needs. Dr. Terry, actually, is going to be jumping on the program. Former Manitoba junior golf champ. They're, of course, presenting the Manitoba match play. So we'll check in on that for a couple minutes later on before we do marbles. But check out St. Vital Dental Center, 167 St. Anne's. Everything you need from cleanings and checkups to things like dental implants. Beautiful new facility, 167 St. Anne's. Free parking right behind the building. Go to stvitaldental.ca for more information or to make an appointment. Patients accepted from 6 months all the way to 99 plus. Hey, it is going to be a really nice weekend, although we could use some rain for the fires. If you're heading out to the lake, you won't be having any fires this week, obviously, but you can have the great taste of the new Canadian Club Pack, which is on sale right now at Manitoba Liquor Marts through tomorrow. 4 CC and Gingers, 4 CC Citrus Smashes, and 4 of the half and halves. Lemonade iced tea. Had one on the golf course yesterday. It was absolutely phenomenal. All at a great price. And of course, we'll see Canadian Club and the ready to drink cocktails at Princess Auto Stadium this summer as the Bombers the Canadian Club is the official spirit of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But get on that this weekend at your local Manitoba Liquor Marts before the sale is over. And trust me, these are phenomenal. And hey, a big shout out to Manitoba Battery, guys. If you're getting the cabin ready, your camper, your boat, you got to make sure you got a battery that is good to go. And Manitoba Battery is the place where you'll save the most money, you'll shop local, and you'll get the best customer service for batteries for literally everything. Stop wasting your time at the big box stores. You can save up to $50 a battery for things like boat and camper batteries at Manitoba Battery, and they'll deliver those to you for free anywhere inside the city of Winnipeg with any purchase over $60. It is just that easy. Logan Avenue, Dovercourt Drive, and of course, you can always order online and get it delivered to you for free at ManitobaBattery.com. All right, we got to get to the aftermath of this Western Conference Final with the Dallas Stars, and Gavin Spittle is going to join us in just a moment. This segment is brought to you by Ben Moss. Ben Moss is proudly Canadian-owned and operated with history dating back more than 100 years. 3 locations in Winnipeg, Polo Park Shopping Center, St. Vital Center, and Kildonan Place. Committed to customer satisfaction. Check out a large selection of Canadian mined diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and mined diamonds available with payment plans to suit your needs. For more information, check out benmoss.com. Ben Moss, shine bright. Well, the Dallas Stars were shining bright through 2 series, but that stopped in a hurry against the Edmonton Oilers but the way things went down and the aftermath might be even more interesting than anything happened during the season. Let's welcome in our pal Gavin Spittle down in Dallas to Winnipeg Sports Talk. Gavin, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. I thought you were having me on to talk Blue Bombers Saskatchewan tonight, but we'll talk some Stars.
If you want to dig into CFL preseason, we can, but I got to ask you about we'll get to last night, DeBoer, Ottinger, but what happened to the Stars in this series? I mean, it was stunning to see a team that has been so good all year long get really stopped in their tracks offensively and then didn't have much answer for what Edmonton was doing in their own end.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Coach Knobloch and the Edmonton Oilers. They were clearly, I thought, the better team throughout the series. Even game one that the Stars won, I thought Edmonton dominated through 2 periods and then just got into, couldn't stay out of the box, and the Stars took advantage. But just strategy-wise, they just tied up the Stars, a lot of physicality, and I think the Stars just, frankly, just ran out of gas. And you look at depth scoring, and it just wasn't there. So therefore, Edmonton just said, hey, we're going to take Mikko Rantanen away. And they held him scoreless, and the rest of the team just couldn't step up. And names like Sagan, Duchesne, Wyatt Johnston, that was really the first flaw we've ever seen out of Wyatt Johnston. So it was just really a tough series to watch. And you hate to say that when you're in the Western Conference Final. You're all excited, but every game it was just so frustrating to see. They just could not generate any momentum, any kind of offense, too many penalties. And every single time they went in the box, just killed all kinds of momentum. Anytime they scored, it seemed as though Connor McDavid got the puck on his stick and he would answer, and any kind of momentum was killed. So it was really a tough series to go through mentally and emotionally for Dallas. It's just, if everything went wrong, bad puck luck, pucks going off like last night off of Eslindell's skate, just anything that could go wrong went wrong.
You mentioned guys like in the middle of the lineup. I mean, even going back to the Winnipeg series, like the Jets got smoked by Mikko Rantanen with that second period hat trick in game number 1. You had the Granlund hat trick in game number 4.
Yep.
The game 3, people still talking about the third goal that Rewucki called. And then, of course, an overtime win in game 6. Like, they escaped the Jets series really leaning entirely on that top line and a little bit from the fourth line. But the second and third lines, there was far more to get out than we saw in Winnipeg, and they just never really got going in this series at all, did they?
No, they didn't, and that's going to be one of the biggest off-season questions, because now you're multiple seasons in the postseason of, like a Matt Duchesne, for instance, one of the Stars' leading scorers. It's awesome to have him during the regular season, and for a while prior to Sagan's injury, he really reignited Mason Marchment and Tyler Sagan, and then the postseason, we just disappeared. And so you're seeing players for 2 straight years disappear, and it's various ones. It was good to see Jason Robertson step up the last couple of games, but prior to that, talk here in Dallas was he's not healthy enough to play. Maybe he should be a healthy scratch, and that's one of your better players. And then you look even at the defensive pairings, Thomas Harley and Miro Heiskanen, and neutralized offensively, and then defensively, how many times did Edmonton go on odd man breaks? And like last night, you're looking and you're like, what's going on? How are all these Oiler players, like, it's one thing for McDavid to go on a breakaway, but when Matthias Janmark is getting behind the Stars defense, you really have to question. And then Corey Perry for 2 straight games left in front of the net for tap-ins. So there's just so many question marks, and it really is a shame, because it's really put a lot of dust on the shine of 3 straight Western Conference Finals, which I think is a big accomplishment.
It absolutely is. I mean, this team has been, really the standard in the Central Division for the last number of years. I know the Jets beat them by a few points in the regular season, but we really do judge by, who's coming out of the division. It's the Dallas Stars doing it again. But, I mean, it really did feel like this. I mean, certainly being there in Dallas for those games, talking to fans, listening to your program and some of the other content coming out of Dallas, felt like this was the year to get it done. I mean, they'd fallen short. You learn those lessons. It's time to come back and be better. And I don't think we can argue that the Stars were better in this year's conference final than they were last year. Goaltending, of course, is going to be a big part of it, Gavin. And we saw Hellebuck struggle earlier. The team sort of pull him up, and he certainly got better as the Dallas series went on. Jake Ottinger never seemed to get his footing in this series, but I don't think anyone could have been prepared for what happened last night. Give us your perspective. And what was your reaction in real time when you saw DeBoer call the timeout, Ottinger go back to the net, and then him give the hook? Like, I could understand him getting pulled, maybe. The way that it happened was unlike anything I've seen before, especially given the scenario and, being in an elimination game in the conference finals.
I'm so glad you pointed that out. As far as timeout, Ottinger comes over to the bench, and sometimes goalies don't go over to the bench, but he came over to the bench, wanted to hear what they had to say, and as you pointed out, starts to go back to his net and is called back. That, to me, was mistake number one. You had to make it clear that Casey DeSmith was going in. So I would have kept Ottinger in just based on the goals, because I think you have to give great goalies the chance to succeed. And when you look at those two goals, those were high quality scoring chances and very tough to save. So I would have, if the third one goes in, which, Skinner scored, I at that point would have probably pulled Ottinger. Even at that point, I wasn't necessarily, I gave a big whoa, that was my real-time reaction. And then I said, okay, he's obviously trying to recharge the team. And if he had said that in the post press conference, I think no problem, off season, we're good. But then to add and to go into Jake Ottinger has lost these games. And if you watch the series, there were a lot of things you can say, including that Jake Ottinger needs to be better and needs to steal you some games and play at that elite level like we see Bobrovsky play in the playoffs. But at the same time, you cannot put this all on your goaltender. I mean, you're scoring one goal a game and you're getting shut out also. Like, your scoring completely went away. You were one of the top penalty killers, and that completely went away to the point where people are on your doorstep or free one-timers. So there were so many things that went wrong, and to put it on not only just your goaltender, but also one of your team leaders. A lot of the young guys, Wyatt Johnston, Maverick Bourque, they're friends with Jake Ottinger. So how that's going to sit in the room, I think, is going to depend on Jake. I think he's one of those guys that is just going to move on from this. But I don't understand why Pete DeBoer, with 1 year left on his contract, is calling out for no reason a guy that just signed a contract that goes into effect next year, and that's the first of 8 years. So it just doesn't make sense. Like, just say, I had to find a way to create momentum, and really no one would have questioned you. So there were just so many questions today, to the point, my friend, where on all of our talk shows, that is the number one topic. It's not Cowboys. It's not Texas Rangers. It's the way that Jake Ottinger was pulled. A, should you have taken him out of the game at all or let him succeed? And B, why did you have to talk about him like that after the game?
It was, listen, it was stunning in real time when it happened. And we just played the clip. I mean, even more incredible to hear DeBoer say it. Like, that just never happens to coaches. I mean, they'll protect their players, especially, at such a vulnerable time when, what's just happened and the fact that the season is over. It was something I've seen, and it begs the question, can this team move forward with Pete DeBoer as the head coach? Like, listen, this guy's incredibly successful. You get to the conference final every year. He's been to 3 cup finals. He has maybe the most incredible coaching record in pro sports, 9-0 in game 7s. But man, this one leaves a mark. And there's some scar tissue, and goaltending is so important. They have made a commitment to this guy that he is their horse. 8 seasons, kicking in on July 1st. I really do wonder if what happened last night, not the playoffs, not the series, but last night, significantly changes the possibility that DeBoer might not be back as the head coach of the Dallas Stars.
I honestly think he could repair this situation by coming out And in his next press conference, which he will have, I think, tomorrow, he could say, you know what, my emotion got the best of me. I've spoken to Jake and we're good. And I honestly, sometimes you have to be humble and you have to take a step back. But you're right. With 1 year left remaining, that's a question mark. And if they get off to a slow start, I could see the trigger being pulled. Now, the one thing we have to realize is Jim Nill is a very dedicated person. He's very dedicated to players like Jamie Benn, and he's also dedicated to his coaches. And so for those reasons, I think Jim Nill will get together with Pete DeBoer. Now, the second part of that is, how does Tom Ghilardi, the owner of the Stars, how does he feel about 3 years and not taking it to the next level? I'm telling you, my friend, there are off-season questions galore with this Stars team. And, how can they shore up their defense? Can we get depth scoring? And, oh, by the way, even though the cap's going up, you're going to be cap strapped because you have contracts like Jake Ottinger going into effect, Mikko Rantanen going into effect. So you have a lot of contracts, and you have Granlund up if you want to re-sign him, Duchesne up, Ben, Dadonov. So you have a lot of players that you have to make tough decisions on.
Gavin Spittle's with us in Dallas. Gav, I was just about to bring that up. I mean, you pull up Puckpedia, and the Stars are number 1 in the league. They've got the least amount of cap space, less than $5 million. And the list of players that need to be re-signed include the captain, Jamie Benn, Matt Duchesne, Dadonov, Granlund, Blackwell, Maverick Bourque is an RFA. And then on the blue line, Brendan Smith, Cody Ceci as well. Who of that group is most likely to come back? Because it's pretty clear that all of them won't be.
Yeah, and I think something that when you take a deeper look, Thomas Harley's contract is up after this year, as is Jason Robertson. So those are two that you really have to, because Robertson's already at $7 million. Harley, I believe, is at just over $5 million. So, I mean, how much is Thomas Harley going to get after next year? So there are certainly some question marks. As far as who's coming back, my target number 1 is Granlund. I think Mikael Granlund fit in perfect with this offense. I love that he's a two-way player. I love his leadership in the room. A lot of Finnish players in this room with Heiskanen, Esa Lindell, obviously Rantanen. So you have a base there, and I think Granlund fits in really well, and he could play in your top line or he could be effective on your third line. So that's number 1, and I think they'll go after him. The question becomes, Jamie Benn was asked if he's coming back to the Dallas Stars, and he just gave a yelp. The question is he going to sign a veteran minimum? Because honestly, the way he's played since January 1st, you have to look at that and you have to make tough decisions. No one's going to question how much Jamie Benn has meant to this franchise, probably just as much from a franchise point of view to Mike Modano. And that's saying big things about what Jamie Benn has been. At the same time, you look since January, it's a guy who commits a lot of penalties. It's a guy who no longer puts the puck in the net. He's not going to be your 40, 50 point guy. And in the playoffs, his minutes kept going down and down to the point where last night, a regular fourth liner, only getting between 10 and 12 minutes. So is that worth it to bring it back? And the question becomes, if you don't bring him back, where does the leadership go in your room? So that's my list, is Granlund number 1. Duchesne is getting paid from Nashville for 1 more year. So you can probably get Matt Duchesne for $2 to $3 million. I think he wants to be here. He moved his family here. I hate what's happened in the postseason, but Matt Duchesne has woven himself into the DFW community. So I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Duchesne tries another year here in Dallas. So to me, those are the top 2 targets. And then you look at Jamie Benn.
It's going to be an interesting offseason. I imagine that locker cleanout day tomorrow, hearing from the players and the coach, will be very well attended and maybe a little more interesting than the last couple of years when they've gone through the same exercise for all the reasons we just discussed.
It really is telltale. Like last year when Matt Duchesne kept saying, we need to do this. We need to do this. And you were just listening to this interview and you're like, oh, wow, he's coming back. So if you really look into these interviews, they are telltale signs. So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Obviously, Pete DeBoer is going to be asked a lot about Ottinger. I did notice on the Stars press release it says, and select Dallas Stars players. So the question becomes, are we going to hear from Jake Ottinger? Jake Ottinger's soft-spoken, but make no mistake, he is a competitor. Just like in the Winnipeg series, I give 3 things that Jake Ottinger looks forward to. Playing in Minnesota because he's from there. He went to Boston University, and playing Connor Hrabchak whenever he plays Winnipeg. Those are the 3 things Jake Ottinger really gets up for. And I think this might fire him up because honestly, with the Olympics around the corner, he really, truly wants to be the USA starting goalie. And, I think the 4 nations and pairing him with Connor Hrabchak helped because he was outstanding in the second half. And I think, that's one of the things I just can't impress enough. They're not there without Jake Ottinger, and that's what's so amazing about those comments.
Gavin, thanks so much for doing this. Fill people in on where they can get the pod as well as all the other content. I imagine, for a division rival, for the team that, is still the team to beat in the Central, there'll be a lot of Jet fans that'll be particularly interested in. But even if you just follow the NHL, it's one of the most this will be one of the most interesting post-game wrap-up days I think we've seen in the league in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk Stars and we talk NHL. It's Spits and Suds. It's on Odyssey or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. And anytime we have anyone from Winnipeg Sports Talk on, we get great reviews. And I'm like, see, we could be friends. We could talk hockey. It's all good. Maybe a rivalry would be developed. I don't know if we could be as big a rivalry as Minnesota for you guys, but we could certainly try.
Well, I'll tell you what, being down there, the hospitality was unbelievable. And the fans were great. We had the only thing we didn't leave our trip was a win at American Airlines Center. But it was phenomenal.
I was going to say, my friend, my only beef with you is that we didn't go get barbecue together. So next time.
Hey, I'm waiting for that regular season schedule to come out. I'd love to get back under less stressful circumstances, and I will take you up on that, Gavin. Thanks so much for doing this. Have a great one, and
always a pleasure.
Enjoy
Thanks
tomorrow. It should be interesting down in Dallas.
Very. Yes. Have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Good stuff. There's Gavin Spittle. We're going to bring on Brandon in just a minute. Of course, tomorrow, 1 p.m., Canada, right there. Desiree Scott retirement match against Haiti. And then, of course, we got to wait a little bit before the Bomber home opener on the 12th. Down at Princess Auto Stadium. Princess Auto, of course, proud sponsors of the Bombers and their home of Princess Auto Stadium. Of course, Winnipeg Sports Talk and so much more in our community. Founded in Winnipeg, headquartered right here in the Peg, and now coast to coast, but with 3 locations, Panet Road, Portage Avenue West, and out in Brandon, where you'll find the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is waiting for you at Princess Auto. And of course, you can also shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. Cannot wait to get out to Aikens Lake later on this summer. If you are thinking about maybe doing something a little different this summer, or maybe something for your work, like a corporate outing, check out Aikens Lake. Fly-in fishing, incredible lodge, world-class hospitality, and you can be on the water in less than 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg. Go to aikenslake.com to find out more information on all sorts of options for the 2025 fishing season, as well as availability. And at Aikens Lake on all your favorite social media channels for more of what the Aikens experience is all about. And I don't know if there's many weddings going on right now, but once you get into June, it's every weekend. Guys, if you need to up your menswear game with wedding season here right now, head on over to F Apparel. Custom suits starting at $400, chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, tucked and untucked styles, the best selection of menswear accessories around. And of course, if you are in a wedding party or having a wedding, make sure to talk to the guys at F about a special discount when the boys get the suits for the big day at F Apparel. 190 Smith Street. Check them out online and make an appointment at EPH apparel.com. All right, Desiree Scott still to come on the program. Hacksaw. Right now, let's bring in Brandon Rewucki, host of Skates and Plates. Brandon, what's going on, buddy? Great to have you back on the program.
Doing good. Happy to be back. Let's go.
What did you make of last night? And as I said, credit to the Oilers. They were by far the better team. They look ready to take another shot at the Panthers. We'll talk about that next week. We just had Gavin Spittle on from Dallas. I mean, an
Did something happen?
unbelievable way that for that. Yes, something did happen. What were you thinking in real time when you saw Ottinger get the hook, the way that it happened, not returning to the game, and then Pete DeBoer backing up over him in the bus in his post-game press conference?
I mean, I have no allegiances to the Stars whatsoever, but it was like the 10 stages of, what was it, 10 stages of depression, where it's just like, he's
grief,
not really
yes.
doing this, right? Yeah, or grief. Yeah, it's like, he's not doing this, right? Well, there's probably a good reason. Like, maybe it's one of those pseudo timeouts where it's like, you pull the goalie, you try to rally the troops a bit, get him back in, and then it's just like acceptance. Oh, he's actually doing this. He's not playing arguably their best player all postseason long in the biggest game of the season for them. I mean, at the time, I thought it was beyond stupidity, and I not that they lost because of it, because like you said, Edmonton kind of pretty clearly demonstrated outside of 5 minutes in the third period of game one that they were just by far and away the better team. But man, I know you feel the same way as me. Like, let's live and die by our best players in these situations. And if Ottinger can't figure it out, he can't figure it out. And you try to regroup and figure out a way to take down Edmonton next year. But two goals that weren't even his fault at all either. So it's not even like it's a situation where he might not have it early here. We got to do something because we're, on our last legs. It's just like, it seems it's pretty evident now, Huss, that Pete DeBoer has some kind of issue with Jake Ottinger. And I get that some of these issues can be papered over. What we saw and then heard yesterday has pretty clearly devolved into, it's either me or him that goes for next season. And I think I have a pretty solid idea of which way the Dallas Stars are leaning.
I got bad news for Pete. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and Jake Ottinger's got an 8-year, $66 million contract that kicks in a month. Maybe it was just kind of an open window into why DeBoer, who has been so incredibly successful, 9-0 in Game 7s. I mean, wins in the playoffs every year. He's been to 5 of the last 6 conference finals. Why he hasn't had the staying power in any of these places that he's come so close to winning a championship in.
Yeah, like, I don't know if is it just a goalie thing? Like, does he just hate all goalies when they don't stop every puck?
His relationships with goalies is probably as bad as any coach in the league. And I think we saw it right in front of our face last night.
That might have been one of the more stunning post-game pressers I've ever, where, like you said, everyone they've done the South Park gif of the bus driving over, right? Like, it's just you don't talk like that about pretty much any player, let alone your franchise goalie. But it's night and day, pretty obvious, right? That he just, I don't know if it's losing the room, but like, you can't treat people like that. And who knows what he's like behind closed doors if he's willing to speak like that publicly. Having said that though, Huss, I mean, tell me the Flyers could sign this guy and he takes you to a conference final every couple of years. I'll take that for 3 years, that it all completely combusted our faces over. Like, there's a lot of fan bases out there that would be like, that's a pretty good deal. 3 years and a trip to the conference finals, and then he has to be right out of town there. But it's one of the more bizarre coaching, I guess, resumes that you can see out there, because it's like, oh, all this guy does is get to the Final Four, but yet every single team he's worked for can't wait to kick him out the door. It's beyond bizarre.
I mean, listen, based on everything, you would have thought that there was a 0% chance they were going to move on from him after this season. That number to me is significantly higher than 0 after last night. I mean, maybe you started off, but like, after what happened, if he doesn't have an extension and this team starts even middling, considering the expectations that the Stars have legitimately raised in that market, I mean, like, what are the chances that DeBoer a year from now is still the coach of Dallas? I'd say it's probably less than 50%.
He might win the cup and they might run him out of town anyways, if that's how he's dealing with his players. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's something you can walk back from. Like, I just think there's some moments, there's some words that are said, things like that, where it's like, there's some issues you can kind of try to paper over. But to that degree, and then you see the chilly lack of interaction. What was it after the first period? Like going on to the bench in the second, they're not even looking at each other. Like I don't know. To me, I just don't really envision. Yeah, I just don't envision a way that they can make that work. And if Ottinger really wants to push the pedal on that, I mean, you don't want players making decisions, management and coaching wise. But like, again, if he's back, I'm gone. This becomes a pretty easy decision for Jim Nill and company to make. And on top of that, I mean, that would be the lamest of lame duck situations if he's already got a bit of a testy relationship with his players to bring him back for 1 year. That just seems like it's destined to be we find a new coach mid-season spark type of a move, as opposed to him galvanizing the troops for another run to the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, listen, part of me thought that maybe he was just watching the way his team was folding over the course of this series and thought, I'm going to do this, and if I get fired, I don't care. I mean, maybe moving on. I mean, like, listen, it's big stones to pull that off and then to operate that way. Hey, listen, the NHL, they do a lot of these neat behind-the-scenes content that, everybody loves. They really want to kill the content game. Get a camera and mics in Jake Ottinger's end-of-season interview with the coaches, or maybe more important, the general manager, assuming those are different meetings. What he would have to say to Jim Nill as he enters year one of his 8-year extension would be fascinating to hear, because I'm pretty sure Jake Ottinger isn't a big Pete DeBoer fan right about now.
Yeah, I don't know if NHL behind the scenes is going to release the public footage of the Ottinger Nill meeting. That would, for some reason, the tape might get lost on that one. But you are right though. Like, it does kind of completely overshadow the fact that the skaters on the ice was there was a gulf in talent between, maybe not talent, but just like in terms of how well each team played. Dallas was never really in this series, right? Like, so I don't think it was this mastermind stroke by DeBoer to like, I'm going to take away the, all the coverage about what the team did out there. But like, that is also getting lost in this, and really both series, right? Where it's like, we're getting the best two teams facing off in the Cup Final. There's absolutely zero doubt about that.
Brandon, let's discuss the team that was the winner last night. Or actually, no, before, one more thing on Dallas. They're not in a very good cap situation at all right now. You pull it up, they're the number one team in the league. They've got less than $5 million in cap space and need to re-sign, if they want to keep these players, out of that $4.95 million, Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, Evgeny Dadonov, Mikhail Granlund, Colin Blackwell, and Maverick Bourque, as well as a couple on the blue line, including Brendan Smith and Cody Ceci. There's going to be some real tough decisions in Dallas. And I know they thought that Granlund was the best fit and he would maybe be at the top of that list. I mean, then Duchene did nothing in the playoffs, but he was a big part of their regular season. It's going to be fascinating to see how the Dallas Stars look when we drop the puck on next year, because I think there's a chance that due to the cap, they're going to have to make some significant changes unless guys like Jamie Benn are willing to come back for $800,000 a year.
Yeah, I mean, the Ben thing's interesting because there's a clear couple steps lost there, and the cap hit was just nowhere near the level of performance you were getting.
He's a fourth liner now that takes terrible penalties.
Yeah, so I mean, you're not. How much on the loyalty side of things are you willing to go there if you're Jim Nill? But I mean, I think the big thing we saw with Dallas, I mean, yes, they couldn't score, but I would say kind of an underrated portion of that is they just needed more puck movers on the back end. Outside of Harley and Heiskanen, and who knows what percent Heiskanen was at, but they just needed a little bit more offense from their decor. And that's, outside of those two studs, like, you need at least a little bit extra there, and they haven't been able to get that for a couple seasons now. I mean, the core is still all there. Like, I mean, yes, they've got to retool and reconfigure, and it's going to be some guys walking out the door for nothing, but like, you're still working with the core of Johnston, Hintz, Rantanen, Robertson up front, a few other pieces, obviously, Heiskanen, Harley, and Ottinger on the back end. Like, I mean, you've got a lot to work with, and there's going to be very few teams that can match their high end ability there. Dallas is one of the better developing teams in the NHL too, Huss. So maybe they dip into the AHL pool and bring in some of those guys that have surprised in the past. I mean, if a team is, I don't even know you have to be all that savvy, but like you can pick up Maverick Bourque for a second round pick if you just throw a $4 million offer sheet his way. And Dallas really doesn't have much of a chance to offer that. So it is like they're in a bit of a precarious spot, but it's not necessarily the harbinger of doom that's on tap here for Dallas. Like I still think they're going to be one of the 6-7 best teams in the NHL next year. But like the margin for error to retool, it's pretty small. Winnipeg, hey, look, the Jets, Stars, and the Avs they all have to retool and reconfigure things, and they don't all have a ton of assets or cap space to work with.
No, it is a great point. Brandon, let's take a look at the Cup Final. And, it's interesting. I see like this basically opened as a pick'em. I've got Coolbet up right now. Oilers are actually a slight favorite now, -120. Panthers even money. But if you were the odds maker, is there a favorite in this series, or is it a straight up pick'em coin flip to you?
I know you bring me on for the hard hitting analysis, but I look at this series. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I could try to BS it and be like, oh, actually, I think that, but like they're both playing so well right now, and they're both dealing with injuries / banged up guys. I mean, there's no team like Florida that I can remember in a long time where like they're just the ultimate blood in the water team. Like one goal goes in and they can turn a game around in a couple of minutes. But at the same time, when McDavid and Draisaitl get going, as we've seen evidence throughout the past couple playoffs, there's very few teams that are able to stop that locomotive as well. So I don't really know. Like it might come down to these first 4 games, Huss, because the Oilers do have this really impressive track record of getting better as the series progress. And Stuart Skinner's on a bit of a heater right now as well. I kind of think if Edmonton can, if they can keep it deadlocked at 2 after 4 games, I think I would give the slight edge to the Oilers here. But I mean, that's a tall task to pull off as well. I just don't have anything separating these two teams right now. Like they've just been so head and shoulders above the rest of the NHL this playoffs that it might come down to who stays healthier by the time game 6 rolls around, and it might come down to which goalie's on a bit of a heater or in the middle of a bit of a dud. So it's tight. It's a terrible answer, but like I can't really make a concrete pick right now because I just think they're so neck and neck even.
Yeah, I mean, even like if we're looking at forwards, defense, goaltending. I mean, goaltending right now, the way Stuart Skinner has been playing since he returned to the lineup, I mean, does Florida have an advantage in net? Like at this very moment, I mean, to me, that's pretty much a wash. Bob's certainly capable of playing at a really high level in the playoffs as well. You look at the blue lines, getting Ekholm back is a big boost for the Edmonton Oilers. I think Nurse has been really good. The narrative around him is night and day from where it was last year. And I know there are a couple guys that we know quite well in Kulikov and Nate Schmidt, playing in Florida. But, I mean, Ekblad still ready to go for the playoffs. Seth Jones has been phenomenal since coming in, especially in the playoffs right now. You got a beast like Mikkola. I mean, to me, it's really tight there. And the only difference between the two teams, I would say up front, is that I think the Panthers certainly are a deeper forward group, especially now that Zach Hyman's been lost for Edmonton. So I think they'll get more out of their third and fourth line than Edmonton does. But, I mean, and with all due respect to the studs that Florida has in that top 6, they don't have Connor McDavid and they don't have Leon Draisaitl, and those guys are the difference makers. So I kind of think that Edmonton has a bit of an advantage in the top 6. And, of course, in what we all expect to be a very, very tight series, this could come down to 5 minutes left in the third period of Game 7. And guess what? At that point, you're not leaning on your fourth liners. You're leaning on your dogs. And to me, if I had to give a slight advantage, I think I would to Edmonton just because of McDavid in particular, but also Draisaitl. And they look like they've learned from their loss last year.
Yeah.
Incredibly focused. Love that he picked up the trophy last night as well. We're going to change it up, do something a little different this year. But I mean, he just seems on a mission. And I don't know, even the great Florida Panthers, I don't know if Connor McDavid can be stopped.
Yeah, the big three of McDavid, Draisaitl, and Jeff Skinner. It's going to be tough to maintain that firepower.
Point a game player in the playoffs for his career.
He's one of the best playoff performers of all time. The one thing, and maybe this ultimately determines the series with just how close these two teams are, might come down to the Edmonton power play against the Florida penalty kill. The Panthers PK is just, I mean, we've seen it in Winnipeg when Paul Maurice's PK units are rolling. Like they are, it's a power kill, not a penalty kill. And they've eviscerated a few different teams en route to the Cup Final here. And obviously Edmonton's power play is maybe the main source of offense that they generate, even though they've been much better 5-on-5 this time around. So like that might be, if you're looking to tip the scales in one direction or the other, that might be the area where whoever comes out on top in that battle might end up lifting the Stanley Cup here. But I'm kind of with you where, you know, before the season started, I just thought this was going to be 97-29 on a mission type of a season. And it feels a little more, not inevitable, but it just feels like the wheels are kind of in motion for that a little more this time around. So I might lean slightly towards Edmonton, but again, we're in coin flip territory. It's going to come down to some stupid bounce that probably ultimately decides this series, and then everybody will make a bunch of narratives and declarations based off a bounce or two against two amazing teams.
Hey, what did you think of Maurice's act at the end of the Panthers hurricane season with Rod the Bot, and then his presser?
Well, I'm sure Rod, veteran of 1,000+ NHL games, appreciated the
1,600 actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, don't want to short.
Guy's seen a handshake line or two.
Yeah, I am sure he appreciated the lesson in hockey courtesy. I mean, Paul Maurice loves himself some Paul Maurice. Like it's even if you're a fan of him, like that's just kind of who he is. That's part of the package.
Indisputable.
Yeah, and he would probably maybe he wouldn't laugh. I don't know, but he would probably laugh at that too. I thought it was ridiculous. Like send him a text before the series starts and just be like, you know, this is how I feel about it. You know, it's up to you, sort of a deal. But like to do that after, you know, a hard-fought series, a hard-fought Game 5, all that stuff that's going on. I mean, maybe Rod Brindamore wants to give some love to some of the players on Florida, right? Like, it's one thing to have your view on what a handshake line should be, but I just think to impose that on a coach in the heat of the moment there, it was kind of ridiculous. And two, I get maybe not having like every single member of the team take part in it, but I think back to the Jet Stars series and Pete DeBoer getting the chance to like have that moment with Mark Scheifele. Like that wouldn't happen if the coaches aren't out there. So I'm kind of, you know, I'm usually not much of a traditionalist, but I actually like seeing the coaches interact with the players after a series there. So I wouldn't be looking to change it. And yeah, I don't mind Rod showing a little animosity there at the end of that series.
Well, and honest to God, the line that he used, he's like, when did it even start with the coaches? Probably some guy wanted to get in front of the camera.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
I mean, it's funny. I went off on this yesterday, and Remus texted me. It's like, oh my God, I heard the rant on Maurice. And I think he's already chopped and clipped it up. I'm sure it'll be on TikTok in a minute and whatever. I know it's out on Twitter. So if you missed that, you can go to the social media. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But we'll get back at it next week and see what we've got cooking for the Stanley Cup Final between the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. I am kind of happy that the Knicks won, so we at least have a game in the playoffs on the weekend. You think that one's going 7? I've got bad vibes of the 2002 Lakers Sacramento Kings game, which prevented the New Jersey Sacramento. Put it this way: keep your eyes out for officiating tomorrow in Indiana, because I'm pretty sure the NBA would love nothing more than the Knicks to come back and avoid an Indiana-Oklahoma City finals.
Yeah, by God, that's Scott Foster's music as he steps out of the tunnel for Game 6. I I think the Knicks might push it to a game 7. I mean, if it kind of follows tradition here, it does feel like the Knicks push it at home and then they lose a heartbreaker in game 7 to an Indiana team. I would like to see a game 7. It's been a super fun series there. I do kind of think it's all for naught though, because not to take anything away from those two teams, it does feel like who wants to be the sacrificial lamb to the start of the Thunder dynasty. So that's kind of ultimately how I see it playing out. But like everybody else, hoping for a game 7.
Buddy, have a great weekend. Thanks for doing this.
Sounds good. Enjoy the weekend too. We'll talk soon.
Right on. There's Brandon Rewucki of Skates and Plates. Pick it up wherever you get your favorite podcasts like WST. All right. Hey, big weekend coming up at Royal Sports. Of course, if you are going to the Canada soccer game tomorrow and you want to get some great Canada soccer gear, you can pick that up at Royal Sports. If you want to get ready for the Bomber home opener and Bomber season, they've got great new Bomber gear in, many exclusives that you won't find anywhere else at Royal Sports. You want to jump on the Oiler or Panther bandwagon, they got you covered there as well. But most importantly, you want to get outside and dominate summer. Tons of bikes, soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, you name it. If it involves good times outdoors and physical activity, Royal has you covered, along with the best selection of shoes you will find absolutely anywhere. Royal Sports, locked and loaded for summer, 750 Pembina Highway. Check them out on Instagram at Royal Sports Winnipeg on IG. Hey, listen, we got to wait for the Stanley Cup Final next week. But you know what the good thing is? Even though there's no hockey till Wednesday, the Boston Pizza playoff menu is there and ready to go. Maybe you pop in for tomorrow's Knicks-Pacers game, or maybe just go in and check out the Blue Jays, who had a massive 12-run explosion last night against the Athletics, formerly of Oakland. Bottom line is the Canadian All-Star Poutine, wing flights are back. The Scoville Showdown for you crazies that love it hot. Wingman Pizza, the Triple Pep Pizza. It's all there for you, waiting at Boston Pizza. And if you are staying at home, you can always get the Grace Days to BP by ordering online at bostonpizza.com. All right, Desiree Scott coming up in just a minute. Hey, let's give a big cheers to the weekend and to Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right. Well, listen, it has been a great week talking about the incredible career of Winnipeg's own Desiree Scott, who will play in her retirement match tomorrow for Canada's women's national team. Last cap as a member of the Nats with the women of the Canadian women's national team against Haiti. 1 p.m. tomorrow at Princess Auto Stadium. If you don't have tickets yet, link in the description. Get out there. All you girl dads out there, let's see you out there with girls for maybe the most inspirational female athlete, some would say athlete, that Winnipeg has produced, with 3 Olympic medals, including 1 gold to her name. Cannot wait to welcome Des in. Did have a chance to catch up with her a little earlier. Just before we do that, though, this segment is brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers, who want to remind you to get in and go with the Toyota Tundra. Quality that means it has the strength to take on any challenge, off-road or hauling a heavy load, and it's backed by the peace of mind knowing it's a Toyota. So take the road less traveled in comfort, room for teammates, friends, and gear. And can we talk about how good this truck looks? Anywhere it goes, the Tundra is turning heads. From $154 weekly for 60 months at 5.19% APR with $66.99 down. Hybrid available. Visit shoptoyota.ca. Ahead of her final match, wearing the red and white of Team Canada, let's now welcome in Winnipeg's own Desiree Scott to Winnipeg Sports Talk. All right, Saturday, 1 p.m., Canada's women's national team, Haiti, Princess Auto Stadium, on its own would be a must-see event, but it's not just any friendly. This is the Desiree Scott retirement game. Winnipeg's Des Scott playing her final match as a member of Canadian women's national team as a 3-time Olympic medalist and Olympic gold medalist and the pride of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And hey, it's Des Scott week. We can't have Des Scott week without having the guest of honor herself. Desiree Scott joins us now on Winnipeg Sports Talk. What is up? It is great to have you back on the show.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
It's going great. I mean, listen, unfortunately, the Jets are done in the playoffs, but we've got so many other things. The Bombers are starting up. We got the Sea Bears, the Fish. But I'll tell you what, for our soccer community and really just sports fans in general, Saturday is going to be a real special day. As not only we get a chance to see the amazing women of our national team, but also you for everything you've done for the sport and this city, finishing up your national career in front of the home fans at Princess Auto Stadium. How does it feel coming back home for this big game?
Man, you can't write that script. And I'm just so fortunate that I'm able to kind of have a hand in that and to be able to finish the career in the city that I love and the place that I call home. We're repping the red and white that I hold so near and dear to my heart. I mean, it's just a dream come true. So be able to have this opportunity in front of family, friends, coaches. It's just amazing. I'm so looking forward to it.
Folks, if you don't have tickets already, there's a link in the description of this video. Make sure to get those and be there for the 1 p.m. start. You know, you mentioned the red and white, repping it forever. You've also always been repping your hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And, you know, we had Diana Matheson on earlier and, of course, Rob Gale. And I was talking to Rob about, you know, his time as the technical director of the MSA. And you were identified as a really talented player that had the opportunity to go out west, and you decided to stay home with the University of Manitoba and play with the Bisons. Take us back to that point, Des. I mean, how big of a part of your life was soccer at that time? And were you worried that the decision to stay home might prevent you from ever reaching the heights that you have done with the national team?
Yeah, I think when I was coming up the ranks, obviously not a league in, Canada. The option was like you had to go to university in the US if you wanted to make it anywhere. That was kind of the pathway and the route. And obviously Manitoba, I feel like I do rep it proudly, but not a lot of national team players come from here. I think it maybe gets a bad rep in terms of quality players that come from here. But for me, I was a homebody, had offers to go to the States, offers across Canada to go to school. But for me, I was like, how great would it be to play in front of family and friends every weekend? And I just remember like the program starting up in 2005, I'm aging myself, coming to my door, knocking and being like, hey, how would you like to stay and represent the Manitoba Bison? So perfect fit for me being a homebody. And I knew I was taking a risk at maybe not doing it the conventional way, but I kind of just trusted in myself and my own path and said, I want to play in front of my fam and friends and be a part of building something here special in my province. So it worked out.
Speaking of playing in front of fam and friends, I'm sure not even you could have imagined what's to come Saturday, finishing up your incredible run with the national team. But take us back before you went to U of M. I mean, how did you get involved in soccer? And Desiree, at what point did you think like, okay, maybe I can actually, this can take me somewhere in life and sort of become that path?
Yeah, for me, I started because of my older brother, Nick. He was a soccer player, very, very good, has a way better left foot than I ever had. But it was just something we sort of bonded over. I used to go to his games and I wanted to be just like my big brother. Found out from an early age that I was very competitive, like 12, 13. I had a little afro going and I was just like, and some people would say like, it's just a game, but I'd be crying after losses. And I knew I was very passionate about it. And then I was kind of like 13, 14 when I started to travel. I played in Calgary for the Calgary Wildfire. I was away for my first summer away from home, playing in a semi-pro league. And I just remember like feeling that competitive edge. I'm now leaving the province, sort of representing, and then you go to play for representing Manitoba on teams like that. And I think that was kind of like summer games, Canada summer games. You kind of get your first glimpse of representing something bigger than just the city. You're representing your province against other provinces. And often you don't realize what you can do with the sport until you have some people who have like told you got something special. And I've had an amazing support system that has been like, Des, you got to like go for this. And a lot of times I do chats and they're like, did you always dream about being a soccer player? And I didn't know what was available to me and where I would take my career and where this sport would lead me, because I've been just so fortunate to ride the wave, love the sport, and just things have happened to work out through my hard work and dedication and love for it.
Well, I mean, I think of, yourself, Christine Sinclair, Diana Matheson. I mean, many of the women, you really have been trailblazers, and the opportunities for young women in 2025, very different than it was when, 20, 25 years ago. And that's a great thing for the sport. And you're a big, big part of it. I want to ask you, like, the national team, like, this is the pinnacle of the sport in the country. What do you remember about getting the invite for the first time and showing up for your first training session with all of these women that you aspired to be teammates with?
Yeah, you're making me go in the memory bank now, but you don't forget that first moment. It was like 2010 with the full senior team. I remember getting a call in. I was actually at Club Nationals in Saskatchewan. Carolina Hrabchak was the coach at the time, and I remember they over the loudspeaker, like, Carolina Hrabchak, Canadians national team coach in the building. And I was like, oh, dang, I had like a pulled muscle, wasn't planning on playing in the game, but they're like, Des, you got to get out there and try. So she was watching that match, and then I got invited in after that nationals. And I just remember kind of being like, oh, dang, it's getting real here now, and complete nerves. But I remember watching the national team, especially like the Diana Mathesons, 5'1", repping the midfield. Like, she was someone I aspired to be and emulate. And then to be able to go into camp with her was pretty cool. The Christine Sinclairs, obviously everyone knows about her, but I remember going in and just like, they were like, get the bags. And I was like, oh man, I'm in for a long camp. Like, they really let you know that you were new, but they took me under their wing, welcomed me in, and it was a slow burn, but a great experience for my first camp.
For the record, Diana owned that when she joined us earlier. She goes, you know what? You might say I wasn't the most welcoming veteran right off the top, but I mean, listen, at that level, I mean, there is an element of competition, and you go in and you realize, like, I got to prove myself and earn a spot on this team. Nothing's given.
100%. You earn that shirt, and you earn the respect of the players who have paved the way, for sure.
Your time, it would take too long to talk about everything that you accomplished and did with your teammates with the Nats. But I mean, the 2012 Olympics, what do you remember about that? And how, in a lot of ways, did that change your life?
2012, my first Olympic Games, really the pinnacle moment that changed, I think, Canadian women's soccer history. And just people started to take note of our team in this country and across the world, to be honest. For me, it was an amazing experience, just being able to play in all the stadiums that you watch in the EPL, and you're there living it, you're training it. It was a great experience. Obviously, the tournament was a roller coaster of emotions. Everyone that I still meet to this day is like not over 2012 in that semifinal against the US. But for me, yeah, roller coaster. We bounced back against France, Diana Matheson scoring a goal in the final dying minutes. And I remember yelling, like, with every vein popping, like, we did it. We did it. And that was like the moment to have that medal around your neck, to know that you've been a part of history. And it kind of just set the tone, like, this is what we want to continue to do. That was an amazing feeling. And we knew we were a team that could continue to have success.
I mean, 3 Olympic Games, a gold medal. I mean, there you are with your teammates celebrating. It is just an incredible story. Has there been, when was the pinch me moment for you as a member of the national team? Was it then after having a medal? Was it the gold? Or was it another time where you're just looking back at everything you and your fellow teammates achieved together and knowing the impact that you've made on the sport from coast to coast?
I think a lot of times when you're in it, especially for me, you don't realize the impact and like legacy that you're leaving behind, and the people who are watching this team, and like literally getting into the sport because of the players who are here. And I've had the opportunity now to kind of really look back as things are nearing the tail end of my career, and just like, wow, I've been on the journey. I've done some incredible things. And I think sometimes I just miss like the moments in the locker room. Like, I'm number 11. I got to share a locker besides Christine Sinclair. Like, I just remember some of our chats, and he's like, yeah, gold feels good, huh? Like, it's just, it's wild to see the journey and the progress and of where we were as a team. 2011 was my first World Cup. We got the wooden spoon dead last in that tournament, and then go to Tokyo and win gold. It's just to be on that ride and see the evolution of this team, and to be a part of the highs and lows of what has been Canada soccer, has been one of my greatest, like I've said, treasures and joys of my career. And I've been so blessed.
What's it mean to put that jersey on for the last time right here where it all started in Winnipeg?
Yeah, even just the training gear, I was like, okay, back in the red, let's go. No, I'm honored to have this opportunity. I think a lot of players don't get to write their own script, and I think it's so special that Casey Stoney has given me the opportunity to do so. They worked hard to get a game in Winnipeg, my hometown that I love so much, and so I'm definitely going to soak in all the minutes. It's really just like a celebration of all that I've done, this team, the years that I've committed to it, the joy that I've had with this team on and off the field, and get a couple more destroyer tackles in there for the crowd and just soak it all in.
Tell us about the team now. I mean, we've seen, a new generation. I mean, Julia Grosso, Heidema, I mean, girls that we're familiar with from there, but it seems like that's continuing through. And as you step away from the national team, we're in very good hands with a very bright future.
Very bright future. The talent is incredible. I'm feeling old as I come in camp. I'm like, who's still kicking around? But no, it's like players that joined this program as babies and now are the vets on the team. It's just incredible to see. And I think, especially now with the Northern Super League, you're having that funnel system that can really filter in some new talent that maybe got bypassed before, along the players who have been with the youth teams as well. And I just think Casey Stoney is really broadening her scopes and bringing in fresh players. And this team is so talented and just ready to keep things going. And I'm happy to pass that torch on.
Desiree Scott's with us on Winnipeg Sports Talk here in her hometown before Saturday's 1 p.m. Canada-Haiti game in her final match with the Canadian women's national team. You mentioned the Northern Super League. We had Diana on. For folks that missed that, check it out on Monday's show. It was a great, great chat, both about Des and the future of women's soccer. And we were talking about the impact that players like you had made for the sport. But you're now continuing to play in Canada as part of this inaugural year. Tell us about being in Ottawa, scoring your first pro goal, by the way, in your first game. Congratulations on that. But, continuing the legacy that you hope to leave and why it was important to play in this league and help get it off the ground.
Yeah, I think it's just that for me. I was like, how can I continue to be involved in the sport, continue to have impact, especially in my backyard, a country that I call home. And I know I had chats in our locker room about needing a domestic league, and never in my time did I think I'd be playing in it. But it's been an honor and a pleasure to help be a part of history and in the inaugural season. And I think for this league to be successful, you obviously need some bigger names to help get things off the ground. I've enjoyed my time in Ottawa. I think, we have national team players trickled all across from coast to coast, which is important. But yeah, we just have that pathway now that has long been needed, from grassroots all the way up to the pros, right in your backyard. You can see it, you can be it. And it's been awesome playing in it so far.
No, you're going to still keep doing that as long as you want. Have you thought about when you finally finish playing as a pro and what's next? When does the broadcasting career start? I'm surprised it hasn't already because you're that good.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I did a little bit of media training to see about the broadcasting world. I definitely enjoy that side. I enjoy some of the coaching pieces. I'd like to do a bit of everything. Don't know if that's possible, but definitely some thoughts on keeping myself in the game for sure.
Well, Desiree, it has been just an honor and a privilege just to talk about what you and your teammates have done over this last 15 years. And it's going to be real special. I know Winnipeg is going to show you the love on Saturday afternoon, but just on your way out, just a message to your city for the support that they've given you over these years representing us on the highest level.
Yeah, just shout out to Winnipeg, Manitoba, my home that I love, that I've repped so proudly. Please come out Saturday. It's going to be a treat. Not only do we not come here that often with the national teams, we have a chance to see our amazing players, but we would love to show out and celebrate Desiree Scott, the Destroyers' last match, in front of the city that I love and all the fans who have supported me along the way. So much appreciated for everything, and we'll see you Saturday.
You're the best. Take care. Good luck in the final match, and we'll look forward to talking again soon as you inevitably pivot from being the destroyer on the field to in front of a microphone and a camera. All the best, and we'll see you Saturday at Princess Auto Stadium.
Take care. Thanks for having me.
All right, there she is, the destroyer herself. 1 p.m. tomorrow. Link in the description if you don't have your tickets yet. Should be a really, really fun day down at the stadium. And then a couple weeks later, we'll be there to cheer on the Bombers, getting things going. All right. We're going to have Lee Hacksaw Hamilton join us in just a moment. Do want to give you a quick golf update for Breezy Bend. We'll be touching on the match play in just a minute with Dr. Terry from St. Vital Dental to see what's happening over at Elmhurst on the weekend, the first of the Golf Manitoba Provincial Championships. But how about Canadian Nick Taylor? 4 under par today. He is leading the Memorial right now with a 1-shot lead over Ben Griffin, yesterday's leader in Colin Morikawa, 3 shots over Scotty Scheffler and Akshay Bhatia. Mac Hughes had a nice round today. He's in it even. Corey Connors had a real up and down one today. He was 4 under on his opening 9, shot a 32, then shot a 41 on the back. He's T28 right now at 2 over par. Course is playing tough right now, but a lot of Canadians doing quite well. Taylor Pendrith's in the top 20 right now. He's 1 over. And as I mentioned, Mac Hughes there. The other Breezy Bend golf update you all need to know is I sunk a 70-foot putt last night. Potentially the longest one I'll ever sink in my life. And yes, was there a lot of luck involved? Absolutely. But I will take it. Man, Breezy's playing great. Can't wait to get up to the Manitoba Open this year, which will be hosted at Breezy Bend. If you want more information on getting on the waiting list at Breezy and making Breezy your long-term golfing home, give our pal Corey Johnson a call over at the clubhouse or find out more online at breezybend.ca. Goldeyes continue their road trip. They will be back next week to begin a homestand. Of course, tickets available at goldeyes.com. But if you haven't already, jump on tickets for our Winnipeg Sports Talk patio party night, where we've got the entire lower deck patio reserved, and tickets are going fast. We're well over 50% sold right now. Go to winnipegsportstalk.com, click on the link, grab your tickets, and we will see you there for what should be an awesome night down at the ballpark for our first WST night of the year. Goldeyes, as I mentioned, are now on CoolBet. We'll hit on the Goldeyes game tonight when we get to the CoolBet lines a little bit later on. And looking ahead to next week, more live racing. I just can't wait for Tuesday's show to make more picks against Michael Remus after the week I had at the track. Of course, the Cinnaboy Downs, I guess they got Rib Fest going on this weekend. You can find out more information at asdowns.com for the Rib Fest happening this week. And then, of course, live racing next Tuesday and Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., free admission, free parking. If you want to make a reservation in the clubhouse dining room, give them a holler or go to asdowns.com. All right, let's welcome in our pal, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, to the program. Saw, what's going on? How are you today on this Beer Friday?
Hustler, good to talk to you. Yeah, a lot going on down here in the States, and obviously a lot going on for you. Hope you guys are okay with the fires. I hate to hear, I hate to read, hate to see the stuff that's going on in Manitoba, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I know it's, listen, here in the city, we're lucky, but, you get outside the city limits to some areas of the province, and it is bad. Full state of emergency here and in Saskatchewan right now. Won't be any campfires out at the lake this weekend, that's for sure. Thinking about everyone that's impacted. So, we always get into the NFL notebook, but I got to ask you about what you thought of last night. Listen, the Oilers winning, I don't think is a shock. I mean, they're an incredible team led by all-world players and an all-timer in Connor McDavid. We spent half the show talking about the Dallas Stars, though, and the hook of Jake Ottinger and Pete DeBoer running the bus over their franchise goaltender who's got an 8-year extension that kicks in next year. That was something.
Well, I think it's deeper than just a reaction to a bad start. A couple goals on a couple shots, 3 goals in an 8-minute window. There's a history here that he has not played well against Edmonton, I guess going back 6 or 7 games. So it's more than a small sample size. Was it an overreaction? Probably. He's the ace. I mean, he is the reason you're really, really good. But maybe it's a move of desperation. Maybe they're just trying to hope with Casey DeSmith to come up with some hot saves and ignite the team. And actually, the team did get ignited, and suddenly their forwards started to play better in spurts of time. But at the end of the day, I mean, you dug such a big hole, and the Oilers just choked off Dallas's goal scorers. I mean, they totally disappeared with the exception of maybe 2 straight shifts in the second and third period when all of a sudden they got hot and scored a couple goals. You thought, oh, maybe they're coming back, but Edmonton just choked them off. So I was stunned Dallas wasn't better from a production standpoint and offensively, but Edmonton is they're playing possessed. They're playing like I've not seen them play in years. It was McDavid and Draisaitl, and those guys would fly up and down the ice. Now it's a whole bloody team that's doing it. I mean, they're 3 lines deep, and they are so deep on defense. And some days of the week, Skinner's better than others days of the week, but he's had more good games than he's had bad games in the playoffs. So Edmonton, Florida is going to be such a war because Florida plays big boy hockey, heavy hockey. They're gonna lean all over Edmonton. But the Oilers are just relentless in their skate game. And, you can't hit what you can't catch. That's going to be fascinating to see the matchups. I do think Knobloch is a really, really good coach. I don't know if he's getting enough recognition across the NHL. Much respect here, this side of the border in the States. So I'm excited to see this thing. I think there's no doubt that McDavid and Draisaitl are just dynamic, but boy, the rest of that team has kind of come along. So I think it's a very different team now than it was before. And Florida is just, what a job Bill Zito's done building big boy hockey there in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, they're not going to back down from Florida, though. I mean, they got some dogs there that can handle the rough stuff and the funny business when Florida inevitably tries to drag the series into the alley. I can't wait for it. I mean, to me, it is basically a pick 'em. I mean, we've got a cool bet. Oilers are a slight favorite. But to me, that's basically a bet on Connor McDavid being the best player in the world because there's not a lot to pick through between these two teams. Hey, very quickly, let me ask you this. I was talking about this earlier today on the program. So Oklahoma City's in the NBA Finals. The Knicks stay alive. They're going to Indiana tomorrow. There's always been narratives about the NBA wants the big markets in. And obviously, if you ask the commissioner, pump some truth serum in, you'd far rather have the New York Knicks in the final than an OKC Indiana series. And I heard Bill Simmons brought up, this has the potential to feel like 2002. Do you remember Game 7 between the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings in 2002? One of the most dubiously officiated games ever that many people feel was shall we say, coerced by league management to help the Lakers get through. Still think about that, and I do wonder if Indiana's going to get any calls tomorrow night in that game.
Yeah, you're a big conspiracy guy, aren't you?
Today I am.
No, I doubt it. I tell you, New York plays such clutch and grab, breathe all over you, lean all over you, cheat on you defense. They can really disrupt you. There have been chunks of games in which a Pacer offense has totally disappeared because they're just not handling the pounding and the physicality. But the flip side of that is the Knickerbockers are really streaky. You just never know what you're going to get offensively, aside from the greatness of Jalen Brunson. But, where are the other consistent points coming from? That to me becomes a big issue. And Karl Anthony Towns is an in and outer. He has had some dynamic games, and then he's had games where you say, where's this guy? So I just don't know. And the fact that this sucker's going to be in Indianapolis, I think it's going to be really, really hard. And Indy's they're going to have to play fast, and they're going to have to hit shots, and they can't get into a half-court game because they seem to get very timid in getting their offense going once they're forced into a half-court game. And I always wondered during the course of this playoff series, how would the referees call this thing? Because you watch the Knicks. They do everything except mug you on the subway with the kind of defense that they play and put their hands are everywhere. So I'll be fascinated to see what happens, but I got to believe it's going to be Indy and Oak City. And I'll tell you, there's a change in the guard in the NBA. I don't know if this is a storyline you want to pay attention to, but all the great players in the league aren't playing this weekend. There is no Giannis in the NBA Finals. There is no LeBron. There is no Kevin Durant. Hell, there is no defending champ Boston. There is no Cleveland, which is supposed to be the upstart team, the next generation. Oklahoma City is just a breed unto itself. Hustler, the average age of Oklahoma City is 24. 24, and they're going to the NBA Finals, and it's more than just Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, this is a really deep team, an unbelievably athletic team, and their level of defense, intensity squared. So that's Oak City is going to be fun to watch in the finals, and obviously Indiana, New York. That's going to be kind of messy, but that's the way they play.
Yeah, of course, the MVP, the Canadian Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. A lot of people think that this series between the Knicks and Pacers is just the opportunity to be the first victim of the inevitable OKC dynasty. And you know what we haven't talked, and it doesn't get talked about enough, is the draft capital that this team has, Lee. We went through it. They've got something like 11 first-round picks over the next 4 or 5 drafts from the Paul George, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander trade and other deals that they've made. I mean, they have more draft capital than anybody in the league to make moves that they need. But right now with this roster, it doesn't seem like they need to do much other than just go out there and keep whipping teams on their home court.
Well, you got to think back, though. I mean, they did have that great run. You do remember the Kevin Durant run with Russell Westbrook and all those guys, and then all those guys left, and they went into the tank, and they went through some really bad seasons. But what they did was Sam Presti came on board as their lead executive, and they just stockpiled assets, and they kept making trades, having crappy seasons. And all of a sudden, they had all these high draft picks by virtue of the trades, some lottery picks, and they made the Gilgeous-Alexander trade with the LA Clippers, and off to the races they went. So they've not made mistakes. They've had virtually no catastrophic injuries per se that have disabled players that we're supposed to build around. I mean, they got every type of building block you want at Oklahoma City, from the great athletes to obviously the young studs like Holmgren, to the rental free agents that came from the Chicago Bulls. As Alex Caruso's arrival is just unbelievable, the way he plays and what he's meant to that team from a chemistry standpoint. So they're built. They're built to be good for a whole chunk of years because they went through a lot of pain, a lot of root canal surgery to get where they are right now. And that, as you say, Hustler, rightfully so, they get that lot of stuff stockpiled in the cabinet in terms of future draft assets too.
So let's get to the NFL. A little bit of a quiet time right now, but man, we've been hearing some pretty significant players being potentially available via trade right now. What can you tell us about a potential, a few deals happening around the league?
Well, the new business year where the salary cap kicks in on June 1st. And there will be transactions right at that point, because if you're cutting guys with multi-year contracts and you do it after June 1st, you split the cap hit in half. Prime example, there's a big situation with Miami with one of their defensive stars. Jalen Ramsey's going to be traded. He's got $48 million plus left on his contract, but if they move him now, they take a big cap hit. If they wait till June 1, then the cap hit is spread out over 2 years. They're going to pay a little bit of the salary to move him. We hear either the Dallas Cowboys or possibly the LA Rams are going to get him, maybe for as high as a third-round draft pick. He's still got tread on the tires. I still think there's a lot of football. So Jalen Ramsey is one. Another one is Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. He is boycotting the OTA workouts. He wants out. He wants to go somewhere to be a starter. Pittsburgh, I've been told, is back in the running now, looking at him. But that transaction has to do with Atlanta doing it after June 1st and Atlanta being willing to pay maybe as much as half of the $27 million per year that Kirk Cousins is owed. And that's been one factor that's delayed. But Pittsburgh evidently is very much in the running there. There'll be some other transactions once we get past this June 1st deadline. But Jalen Ramsey's first one. And the whole Aaron Rodgers storyline is just, it's beyond me. If he wants to play in the NFL, why is he not in Pittsburgh right now, which desperately wanted him? Why is he not there learning the new system? Why has he become a distraction and he's not under contract, and Pittsburgh's trying to stabilize everything and fix their offense? That's why this Pittsburgh-Atlanta thing, all of a sudden, if you connect the dots, makes a lot more sense, because they can't get Aaron Rodgers to come off vacation. He ought to be in the OTAs, learning the playbook and doing all the things to build chemistry with Arthur Smith, the coordinator, Mike Tomlin, the head coach, and obviously that whole locker room. And I don't know, maybe he's going to walk away from football. Maybe it didn't mean much to him anymore. But to me, it's a weird way to conduct business, and it blights what I think was a really, really great Green Bay career for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, like this Rodgers thing. I mean, he's just basically hanging out on Joe Rogan and going into areas where, frankly, most teams won't need their starting quarterback to be in. Hey, did you catch the Stefan Diggs operation this week? His girlfriend, Cardi B, not too happy that he's on a boat with a bunch of women, getting them to call him daddy and handing out things that could potentially be illicit substances. And it didn't seem like it went over very well with his new head coach, Mike Vrabel, either.
No, and Vrabel's really changed the culture there. Vrabel's had a huge impact. In fact, Hustler, I think New England's had the best offseason of anybody in terms of them. I think they had 11 draft picks and brought in 18 veteran free agents, and they're changing everything in New England. And this guy, as good as he's been in chunks of time in his career, there's always been junk off the field with him. Am I happy? Am I unhappy? What am I doing? I'm hurt. Why aren't you throwing me the ball? Diva. After a while, you get tired of divas, and they're all wide receivers in the NFL. He's got signed a 3-year contract with them. I mean, I don't understand why he's acting the way he is, but I got to believe he's going to be in Foxborough real quick, and then they're going to lay the law down that this is Mike Vrabel's team, and you're going to conduct your life on and off the field according to Mike Vrabel's tenets. So they need him. There's no doubt about it. He could be a difference maker, but they surely don't want any more distractions. So this will be fascinating to see within a week. And again, the mandatory camps are coming up. He's going to be there, and he's going to get lectured, and he's going to meet. He's going to have to take on a different persona in Foxborough.
So it's going to be quiet. I'm happy that the Knicks won just so we've got at least one playoff game this weekend. We're spoiled in the early rounds. There's so much going on. Now we got to wait till Wednesday for the Cup Final. I know that doesn't mean you will not be very busy at LeeHacksawHamilton.com. What's cooking at the site?
Yeah, website, we got a ton of stuff going on. We got baseball this side of the border. The World Series teams are playing here tonight. Dodgers, Yankees, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. It's going to be a fascinating 3-day series. The Yankees and the Dodgers, more than 50,000 every game at Chavez Ravine. But we write about everything on my sports website. I do cover the NHL extensively, and obviously a ton of NFL and Major League Baseball and all things NBA and Formula One and PGA and you name it. It's probably on my website, so just check it out, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's weird. I've been off this week from my podcast, Hustler, because my co-host is under the weather, and we've not been able to be together in the same studio, a.k.a. COVID. So hopefully we'll be back in business on Monday at 1:30 Pacific time, but I've been a little bit off. People have been emailing me through my website saying, "Where the hell's the podcast? What are you guys doing?" I said, "Well, we've been under the weather. I'm rain checking everybody." So the old Canada Network based out of Winnipeg, you can rejoin us. We'll be back on, hopefully, 1:30 on Monday. But it's a ton. Check my website. I write on it every day of the week.
Hacksaw, you're the best, buddy. Have a great weekend. Thanks for doing this.
Have a great Beer Friday. Thanks, Hustler. Talk to you again, man.
Certainly will. Certainly will. There is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. All right, couple things to get to quickly. Let's do fan feedback brought to you by Fans First, your number one spot for buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market with no added fees. What you see is what you pay and not a cent more. And, of course, it's an amazing spot for selling tickets as well. And now, while business was booming through the playoffs and all season long for Jet seats, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are also on Fans First. CFL tickets really from coast to coast on Fans First. So if you're looking for some last-minute Bomber tickets or need to sell a couple, fansfirst.ca is where you want to do it. By fans, for fans, no fees. Lots of people in the chat welcoming in Desiree Scott. There's Phyllis, Ishaboy Bruce, the Destroyer, Living Legend, Derek Schmidt, yay, Dez, and Manny Fran, Dez the Destroyer. Lots of, listen, and I would expect nothing less, but having Desiree in on it, Mike Wynn, Dez, #legendary, and so many more. And Gregory Liverpool, let's go Ottawa. We're wondering, what the heck's Greg talking about? Well, he's talking about Desiree now playing in the Northern Super League for the Ottawa franchise. And yes, did score in her first game. Maybe we'll see if she'll get that long-awaited goal for the national team tomorrow, 1 p.m. down at Princess Auto Stadium. Keep it coming. Fans First, fan feedback available in the chat right now and anytime on all of our social channels at Sports Talk WPG. Okay, we are going to do cool bet lines, although there's not a lot going on, but we do have Sea Bears action. The gold eyes are up. So we'll do that in a moment, just as we prepare for marbles. Marbles is open right now. So if you're just popping in late, get your registration in right now. ! marbles in the chat. But we're going to do a quick visit out to our pal, Dr. Terry. You're like, what the heck, Dr. Terry, St. Vital Dental Center? Well, yeah. Well, St. Vital Dental Center is actually presenting the Manitoba Match Play Golf Championships right now. It's out at Elmhurst. And pal Terry's got a great background in golf. They're presenting it, former Manitoba junior champ, and knows the amateur scene very, very well. So let's quickly welcome in Dr. Terry to find out what's kicking on the golf scene this weekend at Elmhurst for the Manitoba Match Play Championship. All right. Before we get to marbles, the Manitoba Match Play Championship for Golf Manitoba, first of many provincial championships going on this weekend out at Elmhurst. And what a perfect opportunity to bring in our pal, Dr. Terry, because, of course, St. Vital Dental Center is sponsoring and presenting the Match Play Championship. And it's a good time to get a former Manitoba junior champion on the program. TJ, what's going on? How are you?
Oh, not much, Huss. Just finishing up the day here at work. It's been another busy week. Looking forward to playing a little bit of golf this weekend, taking in some sports, and certainly heading out on Sunday to go see how the matches wrap up at the match play tournament.
Well, it's going to be a great weekend. I know that, of course, you, like many girl dads, are going to be at the big soccer game tomorrow with your little one, and then, of course, the match play is going to finish up on Sunday. Looking at this event, it's such a unique, and I love match play. I mean, I love the Ryder Cup. I love the match play events when they play it on tour. A very different event for, players that normally are going at it in stroke play tournaments. And this is one of the coolest events we have in the province every year.
I think it really is. Match play is always a fun event to play. I mean, even in my Thursday when I usually play over at Niagara, we're always playing matches, and it always keeps things entertaining when every hole is like you can leave the previous hole behind and just move on to the next one. But, we're really happy to be able to help out Golf Manitoba. It's been a good partnership that we kind of formed about 4 or 5 years ago. I just approached Jared Ladderbrook over there and said, how can we help Golf Manitoba and do what they need to do? And he just said, hey, we're really looking for a title sponsor for our Manitoba Match Play Championship. It was the only tournament they kind of had left for a title sponsorship. And, it was kind of decided on that day. So I benefited a lot, especially when I was younger as a junior golfer in the province. And it's something kind of, being a little bit older now and being, fortunate with a good business to be able to kind of give back to that, because those are some of the best memories of my life for sure.
Well, I mean, and listen, there's so many great events that Golf Manitoba puts over. Of course, our pal Brian Munn's there. By the way, they've got great content over at the Golf Manitoba page, a bunch of interviewers with the top guys. So if you do want to check it out, you can get live scoring. They're all out on the course this afternoon right now. But as I mentioned, a lot of the usual suspects, some of the top guys not here. Evan Nachtigall coming out of Shiloh, the guy to beat, number 1 seed, demanded he start off with a 6-5 win, the biggest of the day right now. But we'll get to a lot of the Elmhurst guys in a minute, but it does seem kind of a little wide open, especially with Marco turning pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Marco was a defending champion. Actually, I've gone to present the tournament 2 times. I had to miss one of the years, and both times it was both Marco. So this will be the first time giving the tournament to somebody different than him. But I know Evan's a really good player. I think he's a younger player, been kind of coming up, and I think his qualifying scores were really kind of head and shoulders above everybody else too as well. But it is match play, so anything can sort of happen. From my home golf course perspective, probably cheering on Lyle a little bit. He had a great qualifier, finishing second. But I also do have some friends, especially guys like Dave Spur, who I grew up playing golf with, and he's gotten back into it recently, and it's great to see him doing well. It's always a fun tournament just to see who's going to pull it out, and I'm excited to go on Sunday and watch, and also see the seniors and the girls play too as well. We got a couple of young girls from Niagara, and Jewel and Jerry LaFleche. I can guarantee you they work so hard on their game. They were there all the time. In the senior category, Rob Oliphant's really been very strong over the last few seasons at the senior division. But really hoping to see my friend Cornell maybe pull it out. He finished second and got off to a good start yesterday with a 3-2 win.
The Razor, you mentioned Lyle. That's Lyle McKenzie of Niagara. He's the number 2 seed and beat his Elmhurst opponent, Colin Drull, 2-1. I'm taking on Dustin Dick this afternoon in his matchup. So, you've got Evan Naktegal, the number 1 seed, still alive, the number 2 seed still alive. There was a couple of big upsets in that first round. 3 seed Eric Prokowicz of Dauphin Lake ended up losing 4-3 to the 30 seed Ethan Portley. The one thing that we shouldn't be surprised, though, especially with it being hosted at Elmhurst, is the number of Elmhurst golfers involved in it. And when you look at the Monday putter record of the Elmhurst squad, they've been a real wrecking crew over the last few years, and not surprised to see them very well represented, TJ.
Yeah, absolutely. They got a great number of players over there. Jordy Lutz is a great player. And just a lot of other kind of younger guys that, usually at a golf course where you have some good players, it kind of snowballs and guys get better as they're playing against each other, certainly. So they definitely have one of the best golf courses in the province and definitely some of the strongest players. So it's not surprising to see that.
Well, the match play goes on all weekend. And, of course, the finals will be on Sunday. If you want to take them in, you can go to Golf Manitoba for their provincial championships for live scoring and updates on all the matches this afternoon. And good luck to all the players. And Terry, of course, we really appreciate the support you guys have done for Winnipeg Sports Talk. Great to see what you're doing for golf in Manitoba. And I know you'll be focusing in on golf, but very shortly, it's marbles time. So I hope everybody at the St. Vital Dental Center is ready to rock.
We are ready to rock, and I do have to remind you that I think we're to take on these guys at some point this summer.
Yes, you'll be
Our
happy.
boys, Jordan. I don't know when you want to do that, but we'll have to get that set up. I want you on my team, though.
Well, listen, I need you on my team right now. I've been out to Breezy a couple times. I did sink a 70-footer last night, which will probably be the best putt I make maybe for the rest of my life. But I'm getting out there. We had a great time at Breezy, and we'll definitely do that with the folks on that. And I'm sure, by the way, just to give a quick shout out to the 18 over par guys, do a great job on the local golf scene. So if you do want more information on golf in Manitoba, events like this, check that out wherever you get your favorite pods. All right, it's marbles time, TJ. Get the crew ready.
Great.
Thanks for everything, and we'll see you at the soccer game and out at Elmhurst on the weekend.
You got it. Thanks, Andrew. We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate it. All right, there's our pal Dr. Terry, St. Vital Dental Center, and they're presenting the Match Play Championship. So good luck to everyone in that event. And you want to see some high-level amateur golf in the province this weekend, head on out to Elmhurst to check it all out. All right, we did last call, so Andrew's going to grab the names. We'll get that going. By the way, I'm seeing a lot of the ESTers in here. Great to see you all. And I guess Barry Cool, the husband, it's his birthday. Well, happy birthday, Barry. We missed you on the poker tourney. I know you've been in before. Keep your eyes out. We're going to keep these going, even though a few things have changed with the lock shop, although still great to be a part of it. But for all of you that enjoyed the poker tourneys before, still hopefully you'll have join us over at CoolBet. And we'll do another one at some point in June. Of course, not on an Oiler game day or on a parade day if your team is lucky enough to win that Stanley Cup championship. Oh, and a special shout out to Spency 5 Centsy, who I believe is in here right now. Spency 5 Centsy was in the poker tourney. We went head-to-head a couple times, and I'm still laughing, Spency, about our head-to-head 420 bets over and over and over again. That was one of the highlights of the poker tourney for me. The low light was getting rivered in the fashion that I did after the great position that I was in. Anyway, speaking of CoolBet, actually, let's get Connor back in here for a minute because I do want to get to the CoolBet lines while Andrew gets marbles ready. But Connor, I meant to mention this right off the bat, and I know we don't have any hockey games to talk about for the next little bit. However, there is some additional WST content that is live right now on the channel. and that's another great piece that you put together. Tell people what is awaiting when we start talking free agency in the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, so I did this video last year and it did really well and people really enjoyed it. So it's a UFA, RFA preview. We're going through every single player on the Jets free agent list and their projected contracts. So what I do at the start of the video, I ask you all to play along. And just for example, Nikolai Ehlers, what is his contract projection? Dylan Samberg, Gabe Vilardi. We run through all of those players, how they performed in the regular season and the playoffs, what their projected contracts are, and whether or not you in the chat would bring them back. So it was a really fun piece to put together. I did it last year as well. And I hope people check it out. Hustler, I do have a question for you because a lot of people in chat are asking a very important question. You hit a 70-foot putt last night. Was it for bogey? Double bogey?
It was for
birdie?
par. It was for par.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't for birdie. That would have been nice.
Right.
I mean, listen, I'm a bit of a granny or grandpa golfer. I don't hit it particularly far, but I played the entire round with the same ball, which is nice.
That's a win.
But yeah, I was getting on it was my third shot. I was way over. Like I would have been lucky to 2-putt for bogey. That was sort of what my goal was. And
yeah,
got in. And the funniest thing, that was the 70-footer. The next hole, I put it in from about 30 feet from off the green as well. This is a bizarre round. I was not feeling better. I was not hitting better shots. But through great fortune, I actually pulled off 3 pars on the final 5 holes to break 100. I was feeling good. So no, it was a lot of fun. Shannon Breezy. Oh my God. This week might have been the best week all year to play golf. Like, we were out on Sunday night. It was about 23, not a breath of wind, no bugs. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. But as they say, we'll take some rain right now, considering what everyone's dealing with the fires. But in the meantime, it does look like it's going to be hot and a great day for getting out to the park tomorrow. All right, before we do marbles, let's get to the cool bet lines. Listen, we don't have any hockey games to talk about yet, but the Cup playoff numbers are up, and I have a feeling that Oiler fan has been hammering it. I think this opened in and around a pick'em. We've now got the Oilers at -120 as the favorites to win the Cup, and the Florida Panthers at even money. Listen, as they say, I think you can make the argument either way. I do basically kind of subscribe to the fact that the Oilers, if you have to have a favorite, would be a slight favorite. But I think Oiler fans, of which there are many in the cool bet community, jumped on that early. Oilers now -120, Panthers +100. If you like the series to go to 7 games, +160 on the over 6.5. And we've got player point totals for everybody. Here's your Conn Smythe Trophy odds. McDavid, even money, +100. Bob, +250. Barkov, +425. Draisaitl, 8-1. Stuart Skinner's 40-1. I mean, when you really think about this, Connor, if you think the Oilers are going to win the Cup, you might be better off just to bet McDavid to win the Conn Smythe Trophy at +100 as opposed to laying the juice with the Oilers, because it is very hard to imagine the Oilers winning the Cup and Connor McDavid not getting handed the Conn Smythe. And hell, he won the Conn Smythe Trophy in a losing cause for the Oilers.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I have a feeling like the only way you see the Oilers win and McDavid not get it is if Draisaitl has like 2 hat tricks in like game 6 and 7 or something, like he just goes nuts in the highest leverage games of the series. Maybe if Stuart Skinner has like 3 shutouts, but again, like Connor McDavid is going to get his points. He's going to get his goals, even going up against Alexander Barkov, and who's probably the best defensive center in the NHL. So I like that Connor McDavid instead of betting the Oilers to win, because unless Draisaitl goes absolutely nuts in this 7-game series, I think McDavid's got it.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you as well. So listen, everything's up there for the Cup final right now. Game 1 on Wednesday is up. Odds for game 1 with Edmonton at home, Oilers -131, Panthers +112. NBA playoffs, game 6 goes tomorrow. The Pacers are minus 179 favorites to take care of business at home. Knicks plus 150 to extend it to 7. I saw that spread was 3.5 earlier. It is now 4 for the Indiana Pacers. And the series price right now, if you think the Knicks can come back and win, you can get plus 276 on New York, minus 357 on the Pacers. But if you're thinking that, you're far better off just betting the money line for the Pacers, because I think if they win, they probably win this in 6. I actually got a theoretical line as well up on OKC and Indiana. If the Knicks win, these bets would be void. Pacers would be 5-1 underdogs. OKC minus 769. So it's pretty clear that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the crew are very much the favorite in this. Now, couple things on the local note to get to for Cool Bet. CEBL tomorrow. Sea Bears and Ottawa Blackjacks, 7:30 p.m. at Canada Life Center. Sea Bears are 1.5-point underdogs at home to Ottawa, minus 105 to win. And now you will look, when you look over on the side, on the left side in the margin, look what's there. Winnipeg Goldeyes. The Goldeyes beginning a series against the Lake County Dockhounds tonight. The Dockhounds at home, a minus 133 favorite. Goldeyes, even money, plus 100 to get the win. They lost a heartbreaker last night in Kane County to finish up that series. So check this out. Jake's put together a little WST for the community. We've got the Goldeyes to win and the Sea Bears to beat the Blackjacks. And then Valor FC and Pacific, which is happening on Sunday, the double chance, which is Valor to win or a draw. So if you want to get behind the Winnipeg teams and put a little sprinkle on it, Goldeyes to win tonight, Sea Bears to win tomorrow, and a win or draw by Valor. Nice boost from plus 516 to just about 6-1, plus 598. There's a bunch of other great combo cards for the games tonight. And quickly, let's just take a look at the Blue Jays. They are they're not in Oakland. I guess they're in Sacramento playing the Athletics, the team with no name, no city name. Jays minus 182, Athletics plus 153 tonight. Full slate of Major League Baseball games on the docket for a very busy Friday night in the Bigs. I hadn't looked at the futures for a while, but yes, Dodgers plus 250 to win the World Series. Next up is the Yankees plus 750. And as Hacksaw said, Yankees-Dodgers going at it. Yankees, the minus 123 favorite tonight. Dodgers. You don't see Dodgers as a home dog very much. LA plus 105 in the opener tonight. That's a 9-10 game, Winnipeg time. Memorial, NBA playoffs, baseball, hockey, all our local teams. Cool Bet's got you covered. If you haven't played a Cool Bet before, use the promo code WST for a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. Connor, it's going to be fun. I will be responsibly laying a little sprinkle on the Goldeyes numerous times, but especially on June 19th for our patio party.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to be in the building for that Sea Bears game tomorrow night, even though it's been a tough start to the year for the Sea Bears. Always a very entertaining night at Canada Life Center for those games. The in-game production crew does a great job. You know, basketball has some advantages over hockey. Like you could play music during the game. You know, that's not a thing in hockey.
Wrestling before and at halftime.
90s night. Yeah, it's going to be fun on Saturday. So hopefully the team turns it around a little bit and we get some entertainment on the court. But the Sea Bears always do a great job entertaining people off the court as well.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, one other thing to remind you of. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. We got the Des Scott retirement game at Princess Auto Stadium at 1 p.m. Sea Bears at Canada Life at 7:30. But if you missed our interview with Reggie Leach and Jamie Leach yesterday, check out yesterday's program. It was a really great interview. But tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. until 2:30, there's a hockey equipment drive that they are running to help bring hockey equipment to Indigenous kids in some remote communities in Manitoba. Reggie talked about the effect that sort of support had on him, which took him all the way to the National Hockey League. So tomorrow, if you got a bunch of stuff that you want to get rid of and you want to put it to a great cause, bring it to Seven Oaks Arena between 9 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Appreciate you supporting such a great cause. All right, Connor, you ready for some marbles?
Am I ever? Let's do it. Going into the Des Scott match, this is going to be great.
I know, no doubt. By the way, looking great today. I've got my Canada on. People were wondering why I'm in a hoodie. Well, I just had to rep the red and white before the big game tomorrow. Gregory did mention, for those of you that are really in, I know there's Canada women's national team fans that are coming from around the country for this. I think there's sort of a kickoff social tonight at the King's Head. So if you want to get into the feel of the soccer crew, there'll be a lot of Voyageurs, which is the national supporters group, and more down the King's Head tonight. All right. We don't have the theme song today because Remus is gone, but Andrew has hooked us up and we do have marbles. Just about 200 in there. I think I forgot to enter myself, so I might not be in there today. Well, live and learn. But if you entered, you are in. Again, wow, the Chuds Power Sport win last week will go down as one of the wildest wins of all time. We did run it back, though, and had a double winner. But in the meantime, there is only one more thing to do before the weekend officially begins, and that is drop the marbles. Good luck to everyone. Winner gets a WST hoodie. Let's go on a Friday afternoon and see who is today's champion. And we're going down. I think this is the Champions Fire Project. So this was the track that we used when we were doing the Cool Bet contest for playoff tickets earlier this summer. Comet just had a very fortunate, no, Comet might be gone. Yeah, we'll see what's going on here. Leslie Mitchduck out. Velveeta looking good. Hey, Honor just getting whacked. Velveeta's in first place right now. We see DJ, we see Spency. David D, I think, has just been ejected. Looks like DJ in first place right now. We're going to have a few casualties, I think. Don't worry too much about the ones that are flying out unless all of a sudden they feel like they're right at the top and they're still alive, which is basically what happened last night. D. Chalice, Bardo, Jeff, Ken 007, looking quite good. Now we've got a number that are heading into the cylinder to come down into the loop-de-loop. Tracy O, Tyson Ducharme at the start right now. Jay Miller looking good. And yes, Jay Miller, okay, first into the roller coaster-like loop-de-loops. He'll be coming down. As I said, we've seen some interesting eliminations, even when we only had like 20 marbles in on this course. So I think anything is quite possible right now. Just readjusting our cam here. All right, Bravo Bry in the mix. Jay Miller as well. It's Bravo Bry, Big Daddy Brent. Oh, Jay Miller, after a great run, just got tossed. Okay, who do we got? We got Les R. Bravo Bry is into the hopper. I see Vinny. I see Les. Amon Kisu, I believe, is it? Amon Kisu might have the first chance to get in. But again, now they've got to navigate through this, get to the bottom. Vinny is now in the mix. Amanda, oh no. This could be, oh, she did it again. A two-time winner in 2024. And Amanda going on to the list of all-time marbles legends for WST. The one and only Amanda now joins the rarefied air of three-time winners in WST marbles history. We just had Desiree Scott, the queen of soccer in Winnipeg and Manitoba. I think I might begrudgingly have to announce Amanda as the Queen of Marbles with her 3rd win. How about that, Connor? You know, some people have been, I've never won in every week, and yet Amanda just scoots in there at the end and gets the victory.
On the Mount Rushmore of marble winners. That is congratulations to Amanda. That was an interesting race. You know, we had some people out in front early, but they got top roped eventually, and Amanda swoops in right at the end.
There she is. She just, holy crap, it happened. Well, congratulations. I'll have another WST hoodie for the campfire. Well, the campfire is actually no fires, but we'll keep you warm. Amanda just sunk a 70-foot putt. That's what I did last night, but that was that was close to it. It was definitely close to it. All right, let's do a quick rundown of everyone I see. Amanda, Garrett Soloway, T-Bone, Nicole J, Missing Monk, Gitch Lishka, 6th place. Nicely done. Les R, Ishaboy Bruce, Dallas Pauls, and Bravo Bry, the top 10. And Andrew, now you can just keep on running down just so everyone can go back and check where they had. There's Todd Fertani. Saw Todd last night. What's up, Toddy? There's Big Daddy Brent. There's Lego Guy. Dr. Terry, not bad. Not bad. 41st. Darren Chalice. What's up, Darren? Trevor Red Ranger. He's won a couple times. I know that. The SMA. There's Rob Pepper. Pretty and Pionk. Hey, Ryan Kibbins. What's up? Al Broderick. Al just won recently. There's Eagle Eyes. Kyle. Duck Dad. Krugs. MC Stormy. Jeff Caldwell. And the final one across the line was Smokey. And then if you go down here, everybody else was eliminated at some point over the course of today's race. Well, man, we had a lot going on today. Lots of guests today, but Connor, we have to now focus in on this Bomber game tonight, of course. Final preseason action, but it's going to be very anticlimactic because we get into week 1 next week. We'll do CFL 110. We'll make all our preseason predictions. And we got to wait another week for the Bombers to actually play a game.
I know. It's brutal. Some team has to get the week 1 bye. It just happened to be the Bombers. I'm still such a CFL fan that I'm going to be glued to the TV through that opening weekend for sure. Sucks not having the past couple of years too, not only have the Bombers been at home on opening weekend, but they've been like the opening night, Thursday night, kickoff of the CFL season. So that sucks not to have that, but we'll have it in week 2 against BC. Really looking forward to this season. Some very interesting, players left in free agency and whatnot, and they brought in a lot of rookies, and Dalton Schoen is back on the offense. So I'm looking forward to a great Bomber season and getting back down to Princess Auto Stadium.
Yeah, it is going to be. It's going to be neat. Of course, Josh Frey Sam, the Freak crew, will have full coverage of the game in the paper tomorrow, and I mean, Eddie Tate and the Bombers content team. I mean, if you can't be there, you'll be able to get all the information you need, as well as tons of content on their socials, and as well as the website at bluebombers.com. And Eddie Tate will have the full rundown. And then, yes, next Tuesday, week 1, CFL 110 with myself and Jeff Hamilton. We will be diving into our season predictions, our favorite futures bets. We'll hit our week 1 lines and the top stories heading into the first 4 games of the season in the CFL. But most of the defense resting, not going. But we are, Connor, going to see the debut of Dalton Schoen for the first time this year. And it'll be interesting just to see how he's looking, knowing how important he's going to be with Kenny Lawler. By the way, let people know that touchdown stat that you dropped on me before we shut the show. I'm still shaking my head at that.
So I'm a big Dalton Schoen fan, like many Bomber fans are. So I went and looked back at, his 2 seasons, fully healthy seasons that he's played. He's played 3, but he played like a quarter last year before tearing his ACL. Kenny Lawler has played, I believe, 6 seasons in the CFL, and he has 25 career touchdowns. Dalton Schoen has played 2, and he has 26 career touchdowns. And you look at Kenny Lawler as, very tall, lanky, jump ball receiver and think that guy's a red zone threat. That guy's a touchdown scorer. Well, Dalton Schoen had 16 touchdowns in his rookie season and then had 10 the following year. And those 2 seasons are more than Kenny Lawler's entire CFL career combined. So I'm really looking forward to having Dalton Schoen back on my TV screen and at Princess Auto Stadium. And I'm sure Zach Collaros is more happy than anyone to have Dalton Schoen back. Be interesting to see how he looks tonight. I'm sure he'll just play like a quarter, kind of knock the rust off. But next Thursday, having him back in the lineup is going to be huge because he's a touchdown guy. He might not, be Kenny Lawler in terms of being 6'5" and a jump ball receiver, but that guy gets open in the red zone. And that's the key to this Bombers offense this year. Brady Oliveira is going to be great. Can Dalton Schoen get back to that level? Because, like I said, in 2 seasons, he has more touchdowns than Kenny Lawler does in like 5 or 6. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. You said to me, I'm like, are you serious? Like, yeah. Hey, listen, Schoen has got a great nose for the end zone, and hopefully we'll be seeing that a lot this year. As Bruce just said, all 4 exhibition games going tonight in the CFL. It's Montreal and Ottawa. I'm actually looking. These are all up on Coolbet too. Home teams always favored, but not by much. Ottawa -130 favored over Montreal. Argos -139 home favorite over the Ticats. Riders -118 favorite over the visiting Bombers. And the Edmonton Elks, a short favorite, -115 against the British Columbia Lions. Connor, I'll look forward to seeing you in that beautiful Canada jersey tomorrow at the park for the big game between Canada and Haiti.
And then I'll see you at the Sea Bears game, maybe? I don't know.
Think you might have to do the double dip. Nice little time in between for a little revelry, hopefully after a big Canada win. Sounds like a plan. Sea Bears tomorrow night, Valor and Pacific at home on Sunday. And then, of course, the Gold Eyes are back next week. And Bombers in Saskatchewan tonight. You can check out all the action with DT on 680 CJOB. Great having you on for the last couple of days, pal. I know we're going to be doing lots more of this as we go through the summer.
Yeah, fired up to be on. I'm excited for the summer sports to really get going. I mean, the Sea Bears and Gold Eyes are already underway, but to get the Bombers going as well. It's a fun time. Summer in Winnipeg is always awesome, and the sports are great as well. So thanks for having me on. Have a great weekend, and see you next week after hopefully we run the table with all these Winnipeg sports on the weekend.
Yeah, you bet. And maybe I'm going to jump on that for the community, and hopefully we'll have a nice result on that for all the local squads. Huge thanks to Andrew Zalondek taking care of business while Remus is away for a couple days. And, of course, to Connor Hrabchak and today's guest, the one and only Desiree Scott, Gavin Spittle, Brandon Rewucki, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, and Dr. Terry James. Check out the match play for Golf Manitoba, match play championships out at Elmhurst this weekend. That is going to do it for us, everybody. Great week. Thanks for hanging with us. Congratulations to Amanda. I can't believe she did it again. We will see you Monday. But before then, make sure to go to the channel and check out the UFA and RFA conversation that Connor has up on the channel. And, of course, WST Sunday Live coming up 9 a.m. on Sunday. Do you have anything already cooked up? Next weekend.
We're out this weekend. Yeah, Liz is away. Jacob's away as well. So this is a timeout weekend, resting and recovering, and we'll be back next week with some more off-season stuff.
Beautiful. And, of course, right in the middle of the Cup Final. That's going to do it for us, everyone. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday on WST.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home! Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.